Hello, strangelings. Welcome back to this cringe fest. I'm here with Pineapple.
Pineapple gender.
Yep. Yeah, we're back in this hell. We're actually going to be watching The Legend of Korra is Garbage, and here's why. We just finished watching Korra together, so now for some reason, he's a sadist and wants to watch it again, except with another commentary that's about to put it down. I felt like I did that enough when we first watched it. I actually like Korra. I just don't like certain plot devices that they chose. I don't know anything about this creator. This is my first time hearing about them. Apparently, according to Pineapple, there's some unsavory things about this creator. I'm just gonna say I don't endorse anything, but let's watch her. Yeah, woo! And don't do drugs,
Guys, I did not mouth the words "I endorse everything." No, I didn't mouth those words.
I guess if you want to know, you're gonna have to go at youtube.com
hey,
Pineapple Gender.
Hey, don't go on my shit. Don't go on my shit.
Though, be careful going there, cause God, finding his account is a pain in the ass. Cause
it is. My shit is locked away, hidden, nigga.
Avatar:
probably
The
because I
Last
said they
Airbender
so
is
much.
one of those TV shows. The shows
you just gotta look up
saw as a
Uncreated
kid
Stranger and
loved and then
I'm
rediscovered
just
as an
there.
adult and loved
First
even
thing.
more. It's one of the few children's shows that ages well with its audience, where it has just enough deeper themes that said second viewing makes you appreciate all the little things it did to keep your parents engaged while you forced them to sit through it as a kid so you could watch the evil lady get beaten by the other lady. This enduring quality.
My parents didn't watch cartoons with me,
Me neither.
so I can't relate to this. I know who parents watch cartoons with their kid. I'm gonna be honest. Shout out to parents who actually do that. I feel bad for you. Teen Titans Go, am I right? Oh, see, I'm a millennial.
Spawned, among other things, a feature film directed by M. Night Shyamalan that committed the two biggest mistakes
Dude,
that
I would
any
shoot
film
myself.
adaptation could make: trying to condense a 10-hour multi-threaded story down to just a 2-hour film, and making in live action something
Not in game,
that had no
nigga. There's no
business being
game
in
here.
live action.
I just shoot
Honestly,
myself
did
about
nobody
to watch
stop
this
and think
movie.
that maybe the show was animated for a reason, and so perhaps if we're making a film out of it, we should just make an actual film with a new story and not do it in live action because that would be stupid.
You think he would tweak out about the Netflix live action?
Oh, it's a she. Pause right there. There's a reason why I've been calling her a whole time. It's a she. They're trans.
I retract those statements, guys. The uncreative community has failed today. My informants did not tell me of these developments.
You gotta make an apology video now.
Yeah, but where's the guitar? The ukulele?
The only thing I groomed is my 2-person cat.
Dude, I'm Mexican. I gotta play that. It's the C.
I'm not a groomer. Just a loser, dude. With the hand signs and shit. I'm not a groomer. Just a loser.
Jeez.
You didn't see what I just did, but it was fucking hilarious.
Yep.
What have you done? Sometimes the hand of fate must be forced.
The mistakes of the film were obvious to anyone.
The subtitles were wrong.
Me when I try to pull out. When I try to pull out and she wraps her legs around me. What are you doing? Sometimes the hands of fate need to be forced.
To make more Avatar, they would have had to move on to a new story and keep the blended animation style that made it unique in the first place. And that's exactly what they did by making The Legend of Korra. This show is terrible. It spends most of its time playing "Remember This" to the previous show.
No, it
never
didn't,
really
but
develops
okay.
an identity on its own.
It kind of did.
That's why we're reacting to the video, nigga. They haven't made a real point yet.
They're making opinionated points, so I can give my opinion.
And what we end up with is a prime example
Not
of
yet.
how not to do a
Also, Aang got really skinny
in
that statue.
Fail on its own merit.
I'm surprised they didn't treat Aang like Jesus. I'm just saying.
No, they did. That's where the acolytes are from. They're the fan club.
No. I get it. They treated him like Jesus. But as a Jesus fan, y'all know I'm Christian. As a Jesus fan,
Don't act like it.
Jesus is mad ripped, right? Why isn't Aang ripped? Why did Jesus get shredded abs that can kill a man? And some other nigga like Aang did not get that.
Okay, just unpause the
Jesus got shredded abs.
video.
And I'm just saying, all that
unpause
nigga
the
did
video.
was
Just
cure
unpause
a
it.
blind man.
We're 5 minutes in and
He
we're at
get- he gets
126. Unpause the video.
he gets abs
Also,
on everything.
he did way
on
more than cure a
paintings?
blind guy.
On the cross.
I'm starting to think
That's
you've never read
fucking
the Bible.
crazy. That's fucking crazy, dude. He cured the blind guy. He split fish in water in infinite ways. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. But that doesn't mean that nigga put in the hard work and effort that it takes to get abs.
He was a carpenter.
And
He carried trees.
okay, Crown. I want to since we're on this subject. When have you seen a non-sleeper build construction worker, carpenter,
Unpause the goddamn video.
or yeah? Now you don't want to argue.
No, I've
'cause they
been
got that
arguing this
fucking
from
gut.
earlier.
'Cause They got
Well,
the gut. They got the fucking
bro,
gut.
we're not even
They
2
got the
minutes
gut.
in,
They
and we're
got the
6
gut,
minutes
and
in.
the gut has no abs, and they got muscle.
For
But the
every
muscles aren't
two,
seen.
for every 2 videos, we've done another. Okay, for every 1 minute, there's 2 minutes. Oh God, I cannot.
All
speak.
I'm saying, nigga, is that Aang didn't get the Jesus treatment. Why doesn't Aang have crippling abs? Why am I not
Maybe it's
looking at
under
Aang's
the robe.
statue
Maybe it's
and
under the robe.
being like, damn, nigga, you kind of, hubba, bazinga.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not like that. Why they do Aang like that? That's what we really need to focus on.
Parents. It ends up making The Last Airbender seem like a freak accident that we got to experience by sheer luck. So join me as we dive into every possible detail of why The Legend of Korra fails.
Have you seen this video,
Because I had
Bowen?
to rewatch the series to write this damn.
I seen it. Let's go back. 6 years ago. I was what? I was like freshman. I'm 20 now. That's 6 years ago.
Getting old, Gramps.
Nigga, this nigga's 22. Yeah, you better, hey, calm down, youngster. Calm down, youngster. All right? All right? You're gonna see the other side of my belt if you keep playing with me. Boy.
I'm gonna beat your stupid ass.
I had to lick my lips for that. What I was saying was, I seen this shit when I was in middle school, and I was a big fan. I was a big fan of being a contrarian. And I never watched Korra. And I took all my opinions from Korra from this video. And then when I grew up, I changed my opinions and watched the show like 3-4 times and then formed my own opinion. But then I kept forgetting. And then I watched the show again. Okay, not 3-4 times. I watched the show like once halfway through, then I got bored.
Damn thing, and if I had to suffer, so do you.
Don't this make you no. Okay, can't do that. I forgot. I'm with another YouTuber. I can't do that one.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, just avoided racism. Can we get a racism tally mark? Can we get a tally whenever I be like racist, transphobic, or homophobic? Like,
Excuse me?
so we can mark it on the board. We can like mark it on the board and tally up the points after. Cause you know I turned hella homophobic when watching Korra.
Okay, let me see if I can do this. Let me like
Get the tally marks up. Guys, I'm not happy about it. I'm not smiling about it. I do try and be better. I do try and change. You guys just don't know how hard it is.
Racist counter. Actually, I'm just gonna put pineapple counter. People will know if they watch the video.
So yeah, they'll know.
So far 1.
Yeah, so far 1. Yeah.
Nah, I just had to put pineapple racist counter. I gave it the full title. People gotta know. Even.
By the way, for intro, like the music and the editing was actually pretty good for something that was made 6 years ago. Just wanna shout that out. That shit really hyped up the intro a lot. So I'm here for it.
all hype of the intro died.
In an attempt to
9
present
minutes ago.
fairness, because people like to pretend that I'm always negative for no reason,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start by listing out all the things I liked about Korra. I'm not against the series trying to court a more
Okay.
mature audience than its predecessor, especially
Okay.
since most of the people who grew up watching Avatar were likely already in their late teens when Korra came out.
No,
When it
that
comes
makes
to a
sense.
show
That
trying
makes
to aim
sense.
higher than its predecessor out of a genuine desire to do something new, and a show getting stuck up its own ass because the creators are one of those insufferable pieces of trash who think cartoons being at their best when they're aimed at children is some sort of negative stigma that we need to
Talk about things being stuck up their ass. I just took a massive share earlier before this video starts, and let me tell you, that should have me tearing up, guys. Guys, I'm telling you, eat a high fiber diet. Don't eat junk food. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
fight against. And despite all its problems that its attempt at a more mature take on the source material brings, Korra is very clearly pitching its tent in the former category.
Look at those fucking shoulder pads. I hate how straight they are. I never got to say this while we were watching, but I hate how straight the shoulder pads are.
I mean, they're weapons, so it doesn't matter.
I overall like
Okay, does it matter? Yes. Yes,
You
it
can
does.
bend them at any point in will, brother.
Dude, she can bend me at any point in what.
Unpause the
a
video.
more in-depth interpretation of bending and how its many different uses are so thoroughly explored, even though I'm going to complain about it later. The ability to power an electrical grid with lightning as a sort of blue-collar job for firebenders is a wonderful touch to the series' attempt to modernize the technology.
Dude, I remember I was talking about this, about one of the things I love about Korra, and that's the expansion on technology and thoughts put on the first Avatar. Like the whole, like, we talked about it a lot when we were watching Korra, when we talked about motorized bending, like old-fashioned bending versus motorized bending, which is like short and quick compared to old-fashioned bending, which is like you need like hella movement. I love it. I love it. I love how it evolves. You got anything to say?
No comment.
And show
No comment on a reaction video?
I mean, what do you want me to say? The brother that we modern. You talked about everything we said. Well,
Okay, all right.
showcase
All
how
right.
Like, I
much has
have more
changed in
input
the
later.
60
Let me-
years since the 100-Year War. Even
I'm
more
despite
like
the rampant
uncreative gay
Americanizing
to-
of everything else. I
'cause he's
honestly
gay.
think the modernized aesthetic would have been better served by incorporating more bending and less generic steampunk 1920s Murica. I love how metal bending
Really?
is
That's wrong. I don't. I disagree with that fully. I disagree with that fully.
I say yeah. I enjoyed the modern because we got to see how bending's getting outdated.
Exactly. I think them leaning on technology being more of a focus than bending being the focus is fucking amazing. Is far more amazing because it shows you there will be a point. There will be a point in time where bending becomes second to technology.
Which we
That's
were getting to
very
that point
important.
when we were seeing that fight scene in spoilers, by the way, in season 4, I believe. Yeah, it was season 4, and you were like, "Oh, bend the middle," and I was like, "God, it's Platinum." And the mecha had lightning, fire, like it just had every quote unquote bending type in the mech that they could just use against our main protagonists, Bolin and Varric and Julie.
Exactly.
expanded on with the many different applications for a single sheet of metal. Kuvira exploiting the metal shoulder guards on most of her soldiers to mimic Darth Vader's choking gimmick showcases a level of attention to detail, at least as far as the visuals go, that you don't often see in
Me, who
animated
takes the
shows.
shoulder
But the
metal
Legend of
pads
Korra
off my
consisted
suit.
entirely of moments like
I think this is actually a very important Kavara moment because it shows that she doesn't have the metal pads there to protect people or as an extra layer of protection. She has it as a control. You having metal pads there, which she ultimately wants, right? You having metal pads there means that you're under her control at all times. If she wants to kill you, she can kill you. If she wants to throw you off, she can throw you off. It is quite literally a control mechanism, especially if you notice that most metal benders, they don't use those pads up there. That is not what they use. They have wrist things that they use as weapons. That's what they use. That is quite literally for her control.
But what's weird is that no one weaponizes the pads, like even though like there's metal benders on both sides.
I really think it's because it's like a dick move. Once again, it's the equivalent of turning on and off your lightsaber.
Ah, the honor system.
Yeah, the honor system can be too much of a dick.
this.
But you do raise a good point.
this, it would have been the best show ever made. You remember how in The Last Airbender, Hama taught Katara just how much the ability to bend could be pushed given just a little resourcefulness? The Legend of Korra took that idea right up to 11, with every single school of bending finding new and unique ways to exert control over the elements. Making use of small details to affect things in such a massive way is a far smarter and more creative approach to combat design than just hit it with a bigger laser beam, even though that's exactly what the show ends up doing most of the time. Bending was always
Kind of
perfectly
agree on
suited
that
for combat
statement, but-
pragmatism, even in The Last Airbender, where big pillars of fire were
But
always
then again, even
considerably
if it
less
wasn't a laser
impressive
beam, it
than
would
the
just be
small ways
big
a bender
rock,
could fuck
big
you up.
fire,
Also, Legend of
big
Korra gave
water.
rise to the single coolest bending technique ever. Holy shit! Are you seeing this? That's fucking lava! Everyone was obsessed about, oh, Zaire suffocated the Earth Queen. Fuck that! This guy's bending fucking lava! I like
They
this
probably
line from
didn't care
Kuvira.
because
And don't
lava
pretend
bending
that
was already a
people put-
thing in Aang's comics. Just gonna say that.
I think no one cared because it was based off of intentions. Zahir killing her was what you called it out. Because you're like each core villain has like a character defining moment, which like shows you that they can't quote unquote be redeemed. And that was his like character defining moment. That nigga was just a groupie. He was a follower. That's it, right? So a nigga having a follower having magma bending or lava bending is not as impressive as a leader having air bending. Does that make sense? Because he's just gonna follow him, Zahir, no matter what. If Zahir stopped fighting, that nigga probably would quit.
I mean, yeah, he even followed Zahir when he, as a lava bender, when he didn't have any bending type. He was just a normal human, which should show.
Eh, Exactly.
Yeah.
Quite literally just a fucking follower.
Yeah, no,
Put you
but
where
what
you
I'm
are.
mentioning was
I
that,
know
like,
what
she's making the point of no one cared about lava bending, but I'm saying that, like, oh, well, probably because Roku was the official first lava bender, and in comics, Toph taught a lava bender. Like, it wasn't really the first time we've seen lava bending, so it wasn't all the hype.
Yeah, okay, so because even, I'm pretty sure they said it in the show, like, it's just a rare ability.
Yeah,
It
like,
wasn't unheard of, just rare.
Yeah, like, if 1 in 100 people can metal bend, it's 1 in 1,000,000 can lava bend.
Well, which we figured out everyone can metal bend with
Yeah,
enough time and teaching.
Yeah, it's just actually about teaching. The inept potential does not fucking matter. Which is
What
good.
happens to cities who don't want to hand over control to you?
Then you know what's coming for Zalfu.
I'll let her come at me.
In fact, I like every line from Kuvira, even though I'm gonna complain about her later. She's the only character in this series who looks as tired of all the main characters' shit as I was by this point, and pretty much hands
I mean, the
everybody's
president
ass to them
also
on a
looked
silver
kinda
platter
tired.
while they're busy spouting platitudes and
Dude, what I would be to be in that guy's position.
You need to unpause it.
doesn't bother fucking
Okay, my
around.
bad.
I really like Tenzin. He's a far more interesting character than
Agreed.
Korra herself, with having to
Whoa.
live with the
Wow, I
responsibility
wouldn't
of
say all
rebuilding
that.
the air nomads after his father's death, along with having to teach airbending to Korra, who's somehow more bratty than the 10-year-old Aang. His sense of responsibility to his heritage
Nepotism.
really comes to fruition in the 3rd season, where he fights the entire Red Lotus, and the camera just pans away as they're beating the shit out of him, like it's too painful to watch such a lovable character get hurt, which is more dignity than Korra herself gets not 2 episodes later. And speaking of season 3, after Zaire is finally defeated by all the characters who aren't complete failures at everything, he starts yelling about how chaos is the natural order of things, and how the revolution has already begun, and a bunch of other anarchist libertarian bullshit, and Bolin literally puts a sock in it! That's fucking amazing! It's the only genuinely funny moment Bolin gets in the entire series, and
What the fuck? I am not here for Bolin slander.
I don't think it's the
What
only thing,
the
but I
fuck?
do think that they downplay my boy Bolin too much in the show.
Nigga, what? By the way, bro, if I was Bolin, I would turn that shit into lava. That nigga would have died there. That shit would have been his tomb. Would have been like, yeah, nigga, fuck you.
But then Korra would
What
never
are you
have gotten
doing?
her like
Lava.
PTSD. Like
Ah!
Korra then would have been stuck in PTSD for the rest of the show.
I don't give a fuck about raging gorilla lesbo. What the fuck?
I'll pause the shit.
Nigga, we got Bolin.
I love it. Also, I love this guy.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Bolin like was not
And
just
speaking
winning
of
most
season 2,
fight
I
scenes.
really like
in-
the Civil War storyline before the writers abandoned it to chase as much fanficky bullshit as they possibly can, and thinking that Vatu is a compelling idea and explaining the Avatar cycle. If this season had stuck with its complicated and messy Civil War storyline,
Hold on. Civil War storyline was not that complicated. It
Nah,
was.
Nah,
Nigga
bro,
got
it
betrayed and
was.
kicked
You
out.
just weren't paying attention
No,
because you were
bro,
like done
no,
with the
bro.
sport. You
No,
literally
bro,
were
no,
so done
bro.
with the plotline.
No,
You left
bro.
for 2 episodes. Don't even start
No,
that,
bro. It wasn't that fucking complicated. It wasn't that complicated.
bro. You fell asleep
The
on the
Civil
3rd
War,
episode.
the Civil War arc was preceded by one nigga. It was pushed by one nigga. That is not a civil war arc. If the only reason you're doing a civil war is because of one nigga, because we did not hear any of the troops openly agree with this nigga, right? And because of that, we know it was perpetuated by the nigga who got Batu under control.
I mean, are we not gonna talk about the soldier that like got one snowball and was about to like just murk a child?
Yeah. Well, what the fuck? What the fuck that got to do with anything?
Clearly they agreed with the cause. If they were just down with like not murking a child, but like waterbending him just for not being cool with the opposition.
So you're saying we have not seen illustrated in Korra military niggas abusing their power when they're given power, even if they don't agree.
No, it's not like there was a fourth season to represent that. There's no way.
Okay. I'm just saying. So if they don't outwardly and openly agree with
Isn't
this
that like
nigga, right?
us needing to be spelt out shit? Sorry to interrupt, but like
No, it's not. No, it's not, because it's very important. It's very important. Especially with a civil war plot, right? When we civil warred America, guys, yeah, we're based in America. When we civil war against the British, it wasn't George Washington saying, "Damn, these British people suck." It was everybody saying, "Damn, these British people suck." And that's how you can get different renditions and accounts of the Civil War. Oh, I was thinking of that Civil War, but that was like a fucking revolution. Does that count? I'm not gonna count that. Let's count the Civil War, like the American Civil War, like the for slaves and shit. If we count that one as well, it wasn't just perpetuated by one person. It was perpetuated by so many people. You can get different accounts and renditions of the Civil War.
True.
Which adds up into one story. The problem is, Korra's story never went into the average citizens. Like, you know what would have made a good Civil War plot? The Earth Kingdom. You know why? Because that's what they did. But before Kavara, when Zahir, it really showed how people are living in poverty, right? So if they did a Civil War plot there, it would show how they feel about the other people that on the other side of the wall, right? I'm not gonna count that as a Civil War plot because it was more like an anarchy thing. There was no
I'm
real
sure we'll see more
military
of it
to
in the
Civil
next
War against.
Avatar, like the Earth Avatar.
Yeah, the next Earth Avatar.
What do you call it up?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's that deep because it wasn't shown to be that deep. It was shown to be perpetuated by one motherfucker. So once you eliminate that one dude, which is the leader of the military, there will be no civil war because we wasn't seeing through the people's eyes if they feel the same way he feels. Just because you follow someone doesn't mean you necessarily feel how they feel. It's kind of like the whole reason why people are like stuck in corporate America. So
Touche.
yeah, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it was that big of a deal as they pushed it. So
I would not be making this video because that story was just that good when the writers were focused on it, and really shows what kind of show Korra could have been if anyone on the production team was paying attention to what was working and what wasn't. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. A few scenes, half a season, some benders, and we're good. So on to why Legend of Korra is a horrible show that makes me want to do all the violence on the drywall in my living room.
Louis, the race counter's still at 1, right?
no.
Oh.
I mean, yes.
Okay, I was like, damn, what race?
But I'm pretty sure lesbo's a slur.
Okay. I'm just gonna change pineapple. Racist / slur.
Slur counter? Okay, guys, we're going down. We're at 2.
Both The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra have massive overarching storylines, but where the two fundamentally differ is in how they deliver those stories. The Last Airbender went with the traditional Saturday morning cartoon format of each episode having its own story contained within the overarching story. This episodic format being structured by a very long-term goal proved advantageous because the story was literally...
And nothing ever happened. Because for you guys, it was just a split second.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's actually crazy how editing
It was
is.
possible to be constantly diverting from the main plot without losing track of it. Every episode was simultaneously building up the world and the characters while also making meaningful contributions to the ultimate end goal of defeating the Fire Lord. Humor me for a minute. How many filler episodes does The Last Airbender have? One. Just one. The Tales of Ba Sing Se, a series of several character vignettes that exist to create the illusion of time passing between set pieces.
Look, brother.
I think that's kind of true, actually. I don't think there's any other filler.
Look, y'all not ready for the take, but I believe filler does not exist. I believe some episodes can be useless, but I do not believe filler exists. Because with each filler of a show you get, it just leads to more character interactions, into more outlook on the character. Even the craziest anime's plot lines, it really shows you how the character will react in the craziest situations. I think filler's good. I think filler's actually really good. You can call it filler. I personally don't call it filler. When I will eventually watch Bleach, I'm watching all of it because I want to actually like see those characters in those scenarios, even if it has nothing to do with the main plot.
Good man.
I want is a full feeling in my stomach.
I'm not watching Bleach.
I'm starving.
The broad idea of a world at war was the best possible framing device for an episodic series. This meant that The Last Airbender got all the benefits of a serialized show with none of the downsides. Or rather, without the downside, the absence of a conclusion. These are problems that most people don't see, as by the time they come across a series, it's already over and been put up on Netflix for another extremely unhealthy...
Okay, I don't know why this side argument's happening, but cool.
I think personally that this person is confused between good writing and bad writing. Even when it comes to serialized shows, they're supposed to be intrigued in that episode. Like even in serialized shows, they're supposed to be intrigued in that episode. A good serialized show will have episodes that can stand alone on their own. Some serialized shows don't do that. And when I mean most live action drama or thriller shows don't do that. Because they are based on if you watch the next drama or thriller episode. Me personally, I don't like that. That's why I don't watch those shows. But what I do know is even shows that are serialized can have episodes that stand on their own. And a lot of the episodes, especially good shows that are serialized, have wonderful episodes that stand alone on its own. Some people want to call Rick and Morty episodic. Episodic with some serialization. I disagree. I think the story was kind of going on throughout the whole background. But that's just a me personal thing. If I'm thinking of a show right now, I would be thinking of
Regular show.
No, regular show. Ooh, that's good. Because regular show has good serialized and episodic adventures. I was gonna say South Park, not new South Park. The episodes is serialized. It's one continuous story throughout the whole season, and it's serialized. And all those South Park episodes can stand alone on its own. Naruto. Shit, it's a reason why niggas can watch shows on TikTok. Because a lot of episodes, even if it is serialized, can stand alone on its own. It's bad writing that you got to worry about, where it's like, hey, buddy, jingle, 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 jingle. See, guys, I don't have boobs. I don't have boobs or keys, so this joke won't work right. Just imagine I had big honkers right now.
By the way, for people on my side of the video, the reason my avatar keeps like going back and forth is not because I'm like shaking. It's because I'm eating chips on the side.
Jingle, 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 jingle. The next episode's coming. You should watch it. We don't do that shit anymore, guys. We have good writers now. For shows. I'm not gonna speak on movies. Madam Web.
So glad I didn't use this data.
The Legend of Korra.
Dude, I'm telling you, horniness couldn't save Madam Web. And the main lead actress is bad as fuck.
Korra is one such show, stretching out a single plot line for an entire season. And not only does this mean
I feel
that
like
there
they should've
isn't a
used the
single
bear more in
episode
the
aside
Korra.
from the finales that has a conclusion you can
Ooh,
feel satisfied about.
you're right.
It also means
The
that
bear is like their
creators have made it
Abba.
extremely difficult to do
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
thing
every
that
character
made
has their
The
own
Last Airbender
companion,
so
but
adored
like,
in the first place.
I really felt like
When you
she
look
was
at some
just
of the most
there instead of
beloved
being
episodes of The
there, if
Last
that makes
Airbender,
sense.
you'll
Appa
find
was
that the
there.
most
Yeah,
redeeming
no, I get what you're
episodes
saying.
are the ones that deviate massively
Nala,
from the
you
main
can't-
story. Zuko alone, the Puppet Master, the Southern Raiders, the entire search for Appa is practically a side story. The Last Airbender has 3
Is it? I thought the search for Apple was really testing Aang's morality.
There was nothing to test. He was gonna kill them. And by the way, that's a common thing for airbenders. Apparently in comics, if you fuck with their bison, they just kind of like throw their teachings to the wayside and just really are about killing people.
Damn.
3 seasons that take place over the course of a
Because,
few
bro,
months.
they're-
It's a pretty
they lost their
short-lived
flying
series, but it
to
always
the
feels like
bison,
it's
you know?
longer
They're-
than that, because every
they-
So
character
they-
gets their own storylines and character
It's-
arcs.
when you
and
kill a
they're
bison,
fleshed
it's-
out
you're
by
like them like
content
that.
and stories.
Oh yeah, it's
Going
like
back over
one
the
half of
footage
your
for this
soul
video,
or
I was
something like
actually
that,
surprised
according
just
to the
how
ancient.
much story they crammed into so few episodes. Most people's favorite episode is the Tales of Ba Sing Se, which isn't just one diversion, it's 5 diversions, one of which is completely heartbreaking. A lot of this looks like filler, but it all pays off by the final episode where each part of the group is doing something different. Aang is
Hey,
fighting the Fire Lord, Sokka,
so-
Toph, and Suki are
Okay, so
taking
then
out
it's
the
not
airships.
filler.
Zuko
So
and
he
Toph
just admitted that it's like not actual filler. He said it looks like filler.
I believe you mean she.
She fuck. It's
Yep, changing
sorry.
the counter to 3.
The voice got me, guys. The voice got me.
Kind
Voice
of
got
put
me.
slash transphobe.
Oh my god, guys, the meter just keep going up.
Tara
By the end of this-
station. By contrast, none of the supporting characters in the new
One thing I learned from Azula is don't fuck with crazy bitches.
Damn, I'm
Alright,
out of
guys.
water. Gonna have to wait the 2 hours.
Alright.
Oh, we're gonna be here way longer than 2
gang
hours.
really
Oh yeah, nigga, see that 10-minute
They're
counter?
not allowed to, because the
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna
serialized
get
nature
one of
of
my
the Legend of
Gatorades
Korra
for
doesn't
school.
allow for those necessary diversions to happen. The only
Are
members
you
of the
pausing, nigga?
Nah, my Gatorade's in my room. I just said so. I
okay,
didn't
okay, okay.
close to characterization are Tenzin and Lin Bei Fong, and they're not around anywhere near as much as they should be.
Amen,
Meanwhile, the
brother.
3 main support
I mean,
Tenzin,
sister.
no, he's right. He's right a lot. Yeah, Tenzin did all right. Li
No,
Beifong,
we're talking
absolutely
about
correct
being.
about that.
I thought she was talking about like them being on screen.
Yeah, being on screen, yeah. Tenzin had a lot of screen time.
Yeah, but Tenzin
I think
wasn't ever
Tenzin-
like an active screen time. He was always a side screen time.
I think Tenzin had enough screen time. I knew his intentions. I knew enough of his character.
Funny enough, I
Li
actually think
Beifong,
his
other than
daughter needed screen
Corporation
time.
Woman, I did not give a fuck.
What about the daughter?
Yeah.
No,
To me, her whole character was Corporation, nigga.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh, I was talking about like I think Tenzin's kids needed more screen time, but like not like Janora. She got too much screen time. No, I'm not gonna go out and say
That's
that.
true.
Oh, I forgot their names. Iki and Milo.
Yeah,
I think they needed more screen time.
I agree with that.
supporting cast, Bolin, Mako, and Asami all get
There
practically
we go, I got my
nothing to
Gatorade.
work with. The most we ever get is some backstory regarding their family, and even then, Mako and Bolin's are pretty copy-pasted from Batman. They get maybe a few scenes of their own, but
It was a little bit more than that, from what I remember.
And then season 3, we see them meet up with their family, and then I mean, granted, it was only for like an episode or two, so but like they kind of didn't really need to explain a lot there. I think Mako
Yeah,
said it perfectly. Like they never had someone before, and they don't need someone now. Like it's kind of like, why would we go deep into the story when they don't really feel?
Exactly. They're like the whole point is that they're like rogue ninjas.
nothing
Oh, and
is
plus there's
flavorful
and then
or
at season
character
4, there's
establishing.
that one episode where they recap it, and then we do see them from their point of view for people who actually cared about
Yeah.
that. We skipped that episode.
We did.
As Azula's disastrous attempt to flirt.
That's a sharp outfit, Chan. Careful. You could puncture the hull of an empire.
I'm dumb, but
class
enough. I would have
Fire
fucked this
Nation
too. I'm sorry, guys.
thousands to drown in.
This is a red flag, but
then
the
you
red
would
flag would have missed
fucking
me.
like come in her, and then like your kid would be like born like a non-bender. She would be like, "I have to sentence you to death, babe," and you can be like, "No, I'm sorry. Please let me hit it
Bro,
one more time."
I know
before
my
you sentence
sperm
me
got
to
some
death."
benders in them.
See,
Technically, guys, all sperm got benders in it.
Hey there, sweet sugar cakes. How you liking this party?
I'm surprised she did not say this was filler.
I think because this is very important. Like story wise, this is really important.
On villain setting because they were literally bred by war.
Because I just want to say this: if we actually never seen like these humanization moments, like shit like this, Zuko becoming good and Azula becoming like what? She becomes neutral in the comics, kind of.
Yeah, neutral.
Well, would have been fucking left field.
But then I just realized she didn't mention it because it would show propaganda, like, which is something she commented on earlier.
This means the show can't shake off a bad idea nearly as easily. The Last Airbender had its duds. It had stories that didn't go anywhere. It had ideas that wound up not being as interesting as the creators thought they were. But they were always able to shake themselves off.
Even like my cabbages guy got plotline in
Korra.
Korra.
Show means you can't make those mistakes.
So
every season you need a brilliant story that hits every single ball right out of the park because you can't just come back next week with a new one and try again. You gotta commit to this shitty idea. The problem is, Korra has a terrible story and misses more often than it hits.
Which season are we talking about?
I think he's talking about all of them, like how the story is serialized. I disagree with that. I agree with that
too.
If
some parts though, the pacing could have been way better.
I was gonna say in any show where it has multiple seasons, if you don't hit every season out the park, it's a bad show. Even in Avatar, if you didn't hit the important plot points out the park, then it would have been considered a bad show. That can go for any show. That seems like a generalization. I'm gonna replay it back just in case I'm misunderstanding what the fuck they're saying.
Had its duds. It had stories that didn't go anywhere. It had ideas that wound up not being as interesting as the creators thought they were.
By the way,
but
you
they were
said
always
he
able
again.
to shake themselves off and come back next week. A
Put it in the
serialized
counter.
show means you can't make those mistakes. Every season you need a brilliant story that hits every single ball right out of the park because you can't just come back next week with a new one and try again.
Yeah, but Avatar wasn't episodic. This is a non-comparison. They had episodic like episodes, but it was actually serialized.
Or?
You gotta commit to this
Avatar.
shitty idea.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
The
Just
problem is,
needed
Korra has a
confirmation.
terrible story and misses more often than it hits, which we'll get into later.
On
so
what?
Even getting through one episode is a complete slog because each episode
Should
is
get
6.5
onto it later.
hours long, broken up by 5th grade level philosophy and extremely lazy antagonist writer. The Fire Lord.
Generic. He wasn't that generic, right? Just that was Roku's friend.
Yeah, Roku's friend, he tricked his wife into killing the Fire Lord because he had lied about the dude asking him to kill his son, which a lot of people fan theories that the dude asked Ozai to give his son to Iroh to replace him as an heir. He proceeded to be in the comics manipulating Zuko into being a quote-unquote better Fire Lord because again, when you put a teenager on a kingdom, he's gonna need advice even if it is from a tyrannical bastard. So no, I wouldn't say. I would say he was a pretty thought-out character, even if it did take some time in the comics for him to reach that point. But I thought he reached that point in the show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was not just a generic fascist.
Then again, we didn't. We only rewatched Korra. We should have probably rewatched Aang.
Oh yeah, we probably should. Hey
Korra
guys,
is a means to an end. As the best villains
Avatar
ever
review
are,
coming.
his characterization
Nah, it's
was
not.
irrelevant. It
There's
didn't
nothing
matter
to
what his
review. No one
motivations
thinks
were.
that show's
He
bad.
was already characterized by letting the viewer see the destruction he'd been wreaking. Firelord Ozai's
I do think his plan was bad though.
motivations are
Like
so irrelevant
burn
that they
the
won't
Earth
even show you
Kingdom.
his fate.
Oh yeah, okay. They're Earthbenders. Fire doesn't. Your fire won't melt him. I mean, yeah, it shows in his comics,
Until
but like.
the last season, and only a
Look at
few
that.
episodes
Look at
more
that
of finale,
Jesus
you
Christ.
get to see his baby
Wait.
pictures. And guess what? It has zero effect on your resolve that he has to go down because those pictures of a happy and innocent little boy don't erase the monster he would grow into. It would have only been a bad
Liar.
thing if the writers started
Iroh's
to
happy
undercut this
baby
by attempting
boy
to shoehorn in
erased
some
his
kind
war
of moral
crimes.
gray area, or getting bogged down in ham-fisted philosophy while at the same time writing irredeemable scumbags as villains, which is something they ended up doing. Every villain in The Legend of Korra, except for one, is a spiteful, greedy bastard who occasionally mince their words with the philosophy of the day. Amon is a
Was
spiteful
it?
man-child exacting a purge of benders because of his abusive daddy, but positions himself
true.
as the bringer of social equality, also known as communism to people who don't know what
Okay, I would
communism
not say
is.
communism.
Unalaq is
Okay,
a
okay,
bad
wait. Pause. Don't most people who have personal goals try to align their overall goal with that personal goal? That doesn't seem complicated. That doesn't seem like a complicated thought process. If you're gonna get mad, because dude, if you're gonna compare that guy to fucking dude who is fascist because he is fascist, one is a far more interesting character personally to me, is far more thought-provoking. I like his character. I'm not gonna lie, because he was a force of nature, right? It was like when the Avatar, the whole show was built up to beat him, right? And the Avatar, the Last Airbender. So it was like, damn, Aang has to fight this force of nature, and we get to see the effects of this force of nature throughout the entire lands. What is he doing? You know, the destruction.
Mm-hmm.
But on a personal level, other than being a force of nature, what else does he fucking offer to me? Like,
So you're saying that Amon's more interesting to watch as a villain?
I'm saying Amon's philosophy is far more interesting. If I was doing, what are the fucking essays called? Where you gotta scan a character. Not the
analysis?
philosophies, but the writing, character analysis. If I was doing a character analysis, I would not do it on him, because what the fuck is there to analyze? Because we don't get the reason why he's a fascist in the show, right? Am I correct on that? We don't get that in the show. I'm just want to double check there, right?
Get why he's what?
Well, why he's a fascist? Why he wants to fire the rule? Other than superior technology and like normal
Grooming.
fascist shit.
Probably grooming, because his dad wanted that, and then when you raise a
Son who wants that, but we that was in the show or in the comics.
Well, no, because remember, his dad was Roku's friend. That's who the old guy is. That's Roku's friend, and then him dying.
Oh, that's Roku's friend.
Yeah, that's why. And then he made the Roku's friend forced his son to marry Roku's daughter, which is how Zuko's the grandson of Roku.
The grandson of Roku. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So,
all right.
I mean, I best grooming.
I get it. I mean,
power-hungry grooming, insecurity issues, nepotism. I mean,
nepotism is nepotism is nepotism is you can leave it as grooming. You can leave it as grooming. But personally, to me, even if you add insecurities, he didn't come off as insecure. By the way, there was no hint at him being insecure, at least from my opinion. From what I remember,
a lot of people say that the reason Zuko got burned in his face is because Zuko looked a lot like him in younger years, and scarred his face so that people didn't compare them because he didn't want to be outbested by some.
Okay, was that a theory though, or was that like actually said in the show?
That is a theory, but people say it's heavily implied. I myself have not done a lot of research on that theory. I'm just bringing it up for this.
Okay. Well, I'm only doing things that are explicitly said in the show. But thank you for that theory. That's actually interesting. I'm actually gonna take the standpoint of that theory being true, right? So you add on insecurities, you add on grooming, and you add on what else did you say? Nepotism. Mm-hmm. But does the show really take time and explore that deeply? No. Like very deeply. Because I know we get a whole episode to Amon and his whole family dynamic.
No, unless like you want to talk about in the comics where like, oh shit! Wait, we do get told he's insecure because when Ursula or whatever the mom's name comes back and she's like, I finally see you for what you are. You're a weak man who's insecure and is just grasping for what little power he ever had, or whatever. Because she goes visits him in prison, starts talking shit to him. Which, by the way, we weren't talking all that shit when he had powers.
Yeah, when he was out of prison, yeah.
Yeah, like. But yeah. That I just remember that. That was the comic where right before Azula became neutral. Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, it was in a comic.
Yeah, that happened.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to discredit comic stuff, but I feel like if we're gonna look at stuff what's in the show, then we have to just compare show to show, right? We're comparing show to comic. I don't know anything about Legend of Korra comics, so I wouldn't be able to talk about that. But
not that interesting. She didn't get a lot of attention in Korra's comics.
So, but I do know from show to show comparison, like that stuff isn't really explored, but Amon's family relationship is explored. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the villain there comes off as a force of nature, while Amon comes to me personally as a human threat. Does that make sense? Yeah. Go ahead. I feel like you're about to say something.
No, I was thinking because I was like, damn, I just realized that Amon was a waterbending antagonist. Unalaq was a waterbending antagonist.
They had a lot of waterbending antagonists.
Yeah.
But I feel like Amon was more of a person-to-person threat. Like I can see a person like Amon infiltrating the government of the real world. You know what I'm saying? I cannot see a nigga like I forgot his name.
Ozai?
Fuck, I just said it. Ozai. I can't see a nigga like that. Ozai infiltrating the real world. At least I'm an American, guys. You got to remember this. I'm speaking from an American point of view. I'm not talking about third world fucking countries. I'm talking about like America. I don't see a person like Ozai infiltrating the world and getting all that control, especially because our control is split up into 3 parts of the government, right? Unless he was born into it, or at least he was born into being a millionaire. So, I don't know. What do you think?
No comment.
Because go okay. Because I was gonna say I do think he's a cooler villain. I do think he's a cooler villain. By all things considered, like the fire, his destructive power, the power that he controls over the people. But if I was doing like a genuine character analysis, I would probably want to do it over to Amon, especially if I'm just doing it on the show.
Madman trying to become the lol so edgy dark avatar, but pads all this with a lot of bullshit about faith and spirituality and give yourself unto Jesus.
That's actually wrong. I think his thing was very consistent. Wait, did it change to being the dark avatar at the end? I'm pretty sure though he did the whole thing for balance, and that was his personal reason. This nigga's not even here right now.
No, I was having a coughing fit, jackass.
Okay.
That's why I said it came out. That's why I said no comment earlier, because I could feel it about a but I ripped. As for the thing, I mean, yeah, he did become the dark avatar, and he's like, this is you are the last avatar. But I thought it was because he was dick riding the spirits and was like, spirited qualities is like the dark spirit will take over the world, and then we like remain balanced as all things should be, because spirits originally reigned over the world. I just think he had a really warped perception of balance.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I didn't think it was fucking, I want to become the dark avatar. I'm pretty sure he would have done that shit if he didn't have to become the dark avatar. Like, I'm pretty sure he would have done it anyway.
Then again, Zahir did say we didn't agree with Unalak's power-hungry methods. So, like, maybe he always wanted to be the dark avatar and they retconned it
just
later?
for the power? Just for the power? Maybe.
Jesus. Zaire is the only one who is actually motivated by his stated ideology, but his ideology is anarchism, which is the worst political ideology imaginable because it only exists to create a power vacuum for the 2 second worst political ideologies imaginable. He doesn't need an ulterior motive because the motive he has is already so stupid that it
I'm pretty sure Zahir's goal with that anarchy was to keep it going. He was not going to just be an anarchist. He was going to be the police of anarchy. Right?
Yeah,
so he was going to make sure
because he was like, for humans to be truly free, they must be free of restraint or some shit. Like, yeah, no, he was not going to let any kingdom arise. Or
yeah, he's just going to cut all that shit in the bud. So I think that's an unfair assessment of Zahir. I think this is I think when we're thinking about characters' ideologies, we need to come from the perspective, not if they lost, if they were to die with that ideology coming to fruition. We need to think about it if they were to win and actually live in that area with that ideology. Right?
I do think Zahir would have broken, though. A long time ago, you said, would Aang be able to convince... You asked me, would Aang convince Zahir? I do think he would switch up after anarchism kicked in. Because we've seen in Korra, when Korra was like, yeah, a lot of people, like, lives became shit because you killed the queen. We did see him, like, do a saddened face. He didn't comment on it, but I do think that motherfucker did not realize the extent of anarchism.
I think it was the equivalent of someone being like, I think this is a better idea and I would achieve anything to get that idea done. And then when that idea was actually realized, he was like, damn, fuck. Maybe it wasn't that good.
Like, I don't know. I remember he was like, oh yeah, we're going to kill the president. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. A president would, the only democratic country. Like, you killing the president.
the only country you voted on.
Yeah, like the only country voted on. Even if you killed the president, a new election would happen. Like that was the least country you should have attacked first.
That shit made no sense.
Defies rationality. While the other 2 villains accidentally affect positive change by falling into it ass backwards, Zair's anarchy does exactly what anarchy always does: create a power vacuum for authoritarianism. Firelord Ozai's motivation.
Once again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he would have policed it. Because didn't Korra go to him because he made a dictator? He was like, fuck.
Yeah, and he's like, I need to fix that. The enemy of my enemies
was gonna kill her herself if he could.
And we even said, like, when Korra was attacking Republic City, we're like, man, shouldn't they release a here who's literally a mountain over? Like, I'm sure he would help.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that
He
could have
would
been a
go
cool
around
way for him
killing
to
other
die.
niggas.
Yeah, he stopped Kavira
WA.
by getting shot, like, by the laser beam or some shit. But nah, Sami's dad had to die instead.
R.I.P. That nigga died for no reason.
Conquest and imperialism, and that took 3 entire seasons to complete that story from start to finish. These new villains have to cram their stories into a single season, and not even a full season either. Each one is only about 12 episodes long, and the new themes are infinitely more complex than Conquest, but each one has a sixth of the time the Fire Lord and the gang were given. So not only is the story written in such a way that it doesn't get to have any necessary and plot important breathing room, it also has to condense all its themes down so much that it's almost inevitable that they're going to fuck something up. Unfortunately, this is the current model for television these days. They're not designed to be enjoyed in bite-sized chunks.
I can see that one needing more time. Kavira. That one actually had 3 years. No, I was saying that had 3 years worth of preparation. We just didn't see the 3 years.
Which you could argue is good or bad.
Yeah, it really depends.
You feel about time skips.
On streaming services. Netflix even goes as far as to release entire seasons at once. And take a while, guess what happens? That's right, people chew through the content in a few days because they have no self-restraint, and suddenly they're starved for content until next year. It's like the problem with Steven Bombs cranked up to the worst possible scale. Now, the Netflix model does alleviate the constant to-be-continued cycle that plagues serialized shows, but the new problem
remember this was during when Steven Universe was out.
I'm something of a traditionalist in this regard, and I think that going full serialization was the television industry's biggest mistake. The Last Airbender was the perfect marriage between serialized storytelling and episodic 3-act structure by using a war as a framing device that every episodic story was able to contribute to while still being its own contained
Would you go into the fire?
That the Allied players recap the series by portraying it as Fire Nation propaganda? The Legend of Korra attempts a similar recap, but just has Mako, Bolin, and a handful of other characters simply recap the story, with Varric going as far as to emulate old 1920s style films. But they don't do this in the world itself. This is just...
It's actually crazy because I said something about that. I remember I said something about that. I was like, the Avatar, every show eventually has a recap episode. It's very important that you make that recap episode unique and somewhat funny. Avatar's recap episode is unique enough to where I can watch that shit even if I watched Avatar. Korra's recap episode was just a clip montage. And so I didn't watch it.
With character input. I don't know, I liked it the first time I seen it and the second time, but like, you seen the first 3 seconds was like, oh yeah, no, we skipping that.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that, no. I'm not gonna watch a recap, especially because I was binging the show.
This is just how the flashbacks are framed. The big reason the Ember Island...
Interestingly, it wasn't done via storytelling. I get what they're saying with this one. Because in the Korra's one, it was done by like, me telling you the story. Just think about me telling you the story. Let's say, yeah, but also this nigga super cool. While this one is an actual in-lore like movie.
Alright.
It's done uniquely.
Just before the finale, turning it into
fucking exposition. There we go. Think about exposition. You know, bad exposition where it's like, you know, that big tower that's owned by all those corporations that we live under. Yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna raid that motherfucker or some shit like that, you know. Good exposition versus, so you're new in town, right? Yeah. That's the big tower that Kyoto owns. There you go. See, it's like the fucking, it's the same thing, same words, but like it's differently. One makes sense and one doesn't. The only reason one doesn't make sense is because it's me telling another character who didn't know before in a unique way versus me telling a character that should already know these things. Now, you could argue core characters in that instance shouldn't already know those things, but notice how I emphasize unique. It needs to be in a unique way.
By the way, we're about to hit the 1 hour mark and we're 16 minutes in.
Abysmal. They had a goofy recap.
Yeah, this is yapping.
So now we have to have it here, so into the toilet we go. The sad part is that Varric retells his version as a 1920s film, but he's actually making films. So why didn't he just do that, retelling the entire story in his own Varric-y way and showing everyone? Maybe throw shade at the Last Airbender movie while you're at it. That sounds like it would have been on the table if Korra hadn't sacrificed those silly ideas on the altar of serialization. So the closest thing we get to this is Bolin playing a waterbender in Varric's propaganda film.
I don't think that has nothing to do Nothing to do with serialization.
In the second season. If you pay attention, you can spot all kinds of opportunities for the story to divert and enrich both the world and the characters, but because we're lashed to the main plot at all times, we never get to explore these ideas in detail. Imagine an entire episode around Tenzin teaching Milo to train lemurs, or Korra training with Toph,
like
rather than clips of these thrown sporadically between the clips of the main plot. That's what you sacrifice when you go the route of serialization, as we have to keep yanking back to the main plot because we've made our bed in this mess, and now we have to sleep in it. If there was ever a lesson to learn from this mistake, it should be
Wait, he's complaining about the lemur episode? I fucked with the lemur episode. It showed Tenzin was sad to be the only airbender that was like a master. Think of what
Never let it be said that I'm a cynic, because I really did try to like Korra. She was already starting the series with a good first impression. She's a brawler, she's got a lot of energy as a protagonist, at least in the first few episodes. She's a natural waterbender, which is the best bender, and I'll fight you on that. And you could cut a steak on her abs. Like, damn, she's buff.
You are very muscular for a woman.
Thanks. You too?
The Legend of Korra was one of the few places you could get a female protagonist that's ripped as fuck, at least until Overwatch came out. And I met Lizzie. When I learned that the new Avatar looked like this and behaved like this, I was totally on board. But as Steven Universe fans are well aware by now, an interesting premise doesn't necessarily mean that the writers are going to follow through, and here's how. Instead of having to learn
this person hates Steven Universe.
Korra starts the series with a mastery of water, earth, and fire bending. And not just through starting the series later in life, she's introduced at the age of 5 bending all 3 of these elements. And she's revealed as the Avatar at a very early
but she's
age,
canonically not considered a master of those elements until the age of 17.
The only element she has yet to master is air. This storytelling decision is often defended by fans by saying that exploring the other elements would be redundant after having spent 3 seasons with Aang learning them. However, that common defense of this story decision ignores the fact that Aang and his friends were doing other things while he was learning each element. Even when he was learning waterbending, Aang met a firebending master and learned just how dangerous firebending can be when controlled poorly. So much so that he carried a crippling fear of firebending until the final season. Aang's journey to learn waterbending brought them to the siege of the Northern Water Tribe. His mastery of earthbending was accompanied by the search for Appa and the siege of Ba Sing Se. The actual mastery of bending was a garnish to the more important stories that all tied to the 100-Year War, which was the reason they were doing all this in the first place. Describing the Last Airbender's story as Aang learning the 3 elements he has yet to master is to ignore 90% of what actually happens in the series. The bending itself wasn't the story. You could have.
That is true, but I feel like they wanted to stay away about the old focus of bending, especially because bending has become homogenized in the new core, right? So it would make no sense for you going across the land to learn how to bend, right? When the styles become homogenized.
For me, I think it would make no sense for a 19-year-old Korra, because that's what we get an adult Korra by the time the show starts to only know water. Especially since she had been guarded by the White Lotus, the secret society, who has.
Wasn't she trained by them?
Yeah.
Too? Yeah, she was also trained by them.
That's why she was quote unquote unaware of the world, because she was stuck only in White Lotus compounds.
I don't know about this. I don't
You could have very easily worked similar bending. There are so many ways you could have revisited the iconic bending lessons. And
no, she would need to master water first. We literally discovered an avatar that mastering things out of order is bad. Like, because it makes them.
Now, that's not to say that starting in the middle of Korra's training is an inherently bad idea, but here's the million-dollar question: Why?
Go ahead.
No, because I'll say mastering out of sorts. We know disrupts the avatar. It doesn't disrupt the avatar cycle, but we know the other avatars don't fucking like it for some reason, and mostly because they won't. You need to master the practices of the bending, and then use said bending practices on the next bending, because the philosophies are good. That's why you need to go and learn from different places, and I think that's why Korra spammed the fuck out of airbending like a bullet because she didn't pick up on any of the airbending philosophies. Or use any of the other.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that.
Her parents know she's the Avatar once she starts bending all the elements, which is kind of cute and already raises a lot of interesting questions at how you handle raising a child who can bend multiple elements. The benders of each nation seem to know very little about the nuances of bending outside their own forms, so Water Tribe parents trying to help a little Korra keep control of her fire bending is itself a really good idea. But all that is hamstrung by the fact that we immediately skip ahead to when Korra is a young adult, being trained by masters as they're brought to the Southern Water Tribe. So why did this scene at the start need to exist twist at all. The writers already had a reasonable and workable excuse for why Korra is already proficient in 3 of the 4 styles of bending when we open on her training exercises. I've heard people complain that Korra already being able to adequately bend at such a young age makes her a Mary Sue, and while those kind of complaints are usually bullshit, it's great.
Actually, it was shown that she can't adequately bend.
And has poor control.
Wait. Pause. I really feel like this point of view of learning the 4 bendings was replaced with learning how to fight and bend.
Because the fire ferrets
there's a difference.
The fire ferret artists, we literally know she discovers how to bend properly because she discovers modern bending because all the fucking White Lotus are 90-year-old dudes besides the new ones, which are guards, but I'm not counting them because they're the serialized versions. All the fucking White Lotus only know old bending styles. So when Korra joins a fire ferret team, the fire ferrets team, she literally gets told by Bolin, "Oh, what the hell are you doing, bro? Did this how you move your legs like
what
this?"
are you doing on that? I feel like the perfect fucking example of this is when Zahir, and I remember I called it out because we replayed it like 3 times. When Zahir jumped from like a hole, and there was a water bender down there who was White Lotus, and I was like, Zahir beats one of the guards, and then the water bender just brought up the water as Zahir landed in front of him. And I was like, bro, you had so much fucking time to pull out your water from the fucking canister, but you're doing all this unnecessary movement shit that Zahir dropped down and kicked your fucking ass.
Also, firebenders in the ice, in the fucking ice tomb. I'm sorry, who the fuck decided that? Because they get weaker in the North Pole. I don't know why the fuck they stationed White Lotus firebenders in there.
Yeah, I have no clue either. But the fact being is that the 4 elements thing got replaced with how to use bending while fighting, which is far more important. In Korra specifically. It's far more important in Korra specifically.
Granted more credibility by the fact that a better answer for this question is immediately presented, so why didn't the writers
Also, we see from Korra fighting the gang members that she doesn't have complete control. She has poor actual control. Like, she can bend, but like she doesn't understand the concept of controlling said power behind the bending.
I also want to say it's shown to us that people who can do minimalist movements is far more proficient. Toph, Kara, or whatever the fuck her name is.
Storytelling, but things like this are not isolated incidents.
Korra,
the
but
same
evil and
people who
Earth.
thought this was the best way to open on the new Avatar made the rest of her character arc as well. Characters are always remarking on how strong and powerful she is. The fact that she's the Avatar is treated with awe and respect, and yet there's no faith in Korra as a character because she's constantly being set up to fail. When we open on Korra in the very first episode, she's training in a combat arena with firebenders from the Fire Nation, seemingly doing little more than sparring. We later learn that Korra's never left the Southern Water Tribe. Katara remarks how strong she is, while the White Lotus beside remarks that she lacks restraint. Because of fucking course she does! She's had teachers brought in to do little more than teach her how to apply bending and combat. She's sparring with the guards in an enclosed area. Every Avatar before her was said to have gone out on a journey across the world to find masters to teach them each element. Not a council of teachers dictating their education, but to find specific bending masters and form a bond with them. But
and that's why Korra's story is unique. That's what makes her story unique.
The idea that the Avatar is traveling the world to seek out masters on their own heavily implies that they're constantly interacting with the world they're supposed to be protecting, learning firsthand the duties of being the Avatar and gaining the restraint and spiritual perspective they're supposed to have. It's not just an experience of learning to master all the different kinds of bending, it's experiencing the world and its
Kyoshi had a council of teachers, because remember, they didn't know if it was June or Kyoshi, so they just were teaching them both as if they were the Avatar.
And coming out of that journey a far wiser and more mature person. Korra, by contrast, is treated like a child and educated like one even when she's a fully grown adult. The White Lotus criticizes her for ignoring the spiritual side of bending, even though that's entirely their fault. Korra herself even acknowledges that she struggles with it and wants to start her airbending training because that's 90% spirituality. The White Lotus insists she doesn't respect bending and then proceed to not teach her how to respect bending. In a hasty effort to skip past the other elements
they don't teach her. Korra's just a fucking stubborn person.
Or sheer stupidity,
no, I'm pretty sure the whole point is she refused to she was like, no, I don't want to go to the Wing Tribe. Man, all this hard fucking work. Like, ooh, wasn't that the whole fucking plot?
Of her going to Republic
City? We needed a whole episode for her to be like, maybe I do want to learn at the Wind Temple.
No, I'm trying to think, because we know she ran away to get to the Air Temple because she wanted Tenzin to beat her. Then a teacher, then Tenzin was like, oh, if you want to learn from me, you actually can't. You gotta be like an Amish person. Then Korra was like, "Oh fuck that shit," and then
Yeah.
Tenzin was like, eventually seeing her spar and was like, "Ah, maybe she needs this." So I think she kind of won the argument, didn't she?
It was kind of like you're your own person, but the fact being is they had all right not to train her in that shit, because if Tenzin's the only nigga that can train her in that shit, then if she doesn't want to become Amish, what is Tenzin supposed to do?
That is
Create a
true.
character that is doomed to fail at every possible opportunity.
Also, like, they
More
kind
to
of
the point,
explain
Korra
how
never
her-
was
Oh,
just
by the way, go ahead.
I was to say, like, in season 2, literally Korra points out that the reason she's like coddled is because they were afraid of her getting killed, which one I would say was kind of true. It was kind of true that there was people trying to kill her. The Red Lotus were trying to kidnap her, but she
easily takes L's in the show.
Yeah, like
what I was gonna say though is, of course, she would actively ignore and not be good at the spiritual side of bending, because she only seen bending as a weapon. And you could argue that the White Lotus didn't teach her that, but we don't know that.
It's weird that the White Lotus failed at teaching her that, though, because we do know they were the most spiritually inclined. Like,
no, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, we don't know that they failed. We're not really sure because it was time skipped. And we know we've seen via Korra's character traits that she is stubborn, and she does believe that she should get things easily within the show. So with that being said, furthermore, she has a magnetism to fighting, which is the whole Wind episode, right? She loves brawling. How do you teach somebody who loves brawling the spiritual and patient side of bending?
That is true.
Especially if they exhibited character traits of being
This pause
stubborn.
screen is cursed. That kid's been staring at me.
Has to combat this character issue. One of the big conflicts of the first season involves Korra being unable to airbend due to its innate spiritual connection, and the fact that it hasn't evolved like the 3 other forms, because Aang's son was the only airbending master in the world after his death.
Oh, and I
he
pointed that
spat
out,
on the
that
idea of
Tenzin
modern
had no
bending being
need to evolve his bending, because even if he got in a fight, he didn't need to modernize airbending, because no one knew how to fight old bending.
Yeah,
to
fight
begin with.
airbenders.
Yeah.
martial arts and nothing else. But Korra never grasps airbending this way. When Amon takes her bending from her, she suddenly summons the ability to airbend when Mako's threatened, leaving her with a sudden mastery of airbending and none of the other elements.
I wouldn't call it mastery.
So now she can airbend, but little else. You would think this would be a chance for Korra to truly respect bending as an art form, now that it's been taken from her, putting her in a humbling situation as a counterpart to Yakone, who lost his bending and grew bitter and hateful as a result. But before the viewer can truly grasp the gravity of the situation, or have any time to develop any sympathy for Korra's situation at all, Aang gives Korra back her firebending, earthbending, and waterbending, on top of giving her energy bending to reverse Amon's damage in Republic City, and you know what? Just for good measure, let's give her the Avatar State as well. Because why not? Why bother
Avatar
having Korra
State.
actually have to learn the gravity of the Avatar State?
I'm gonna be real. I think the given of the wind bending was that we see in wind, when you lose everything, you will gain a wind ability. I think that shit makes sense looking back in it, that she gained wind after she got all her other bendings taken away. That's it. You disagree with that?
Well, because the wind ability you're mentioning is the flight, correct?
Yes, I am mentioning the flight.
But that's directly associated with losing earthly attachments. You can argue she didn't lose.
No, I didn't say she lost earthly attachments. I'm just saying, if you can lose something to gain an ability, what stops you from losing all bending to gain wind? Like, what stops that logic from working out? Because the idea one is that you have lost all earthly attachments. In my mind, that means if you don't have any earthly attachments.
To be fair, like we both are confused by that statement, because
because technically you should have no goals, right? If you lose all earthly attachment, in my opinion, you stop kind of functioning as a human. You hit rock bottom because you have nothing that you really want to fight for, right? And let's admit a physical attachment to the earth, but then he should have been able to fly because love isn't physical.
But I guess her existing there, because he would constantly want to protect her, like it would be a biasness.
I don't know. Dude, that shit doesn't make sense.
It wasn't explained.
So-
I'll give this guy that if he makes a point about that.
Yeah, I was about to say that shit makes no sense. But what I will say, which does make sense to me, if it's based off of, which is based off of give to gain, and she lost her airbending, that should deepen her connection. She has hit rock bottom. She has nothing else. Most of the time, when people hit rock bottom, they become more spiritual. That makes sense to me. That at that moment she probably look inwards.
No, I do wish she would have, like, kind of like how he mentions, like, given her a bit more humbleness, but, like, it did actually the opposite. She got
More cockier.
Yeah, way more complex, because she's like, oh, I mastered air, and I mastered avatar state, and I have energy bending. And Tenzin was like,
Yeah,
well,
that is
shit.
true. That is true. She became the shit easily.
Yeah, Tenzin got even harder at teaching her, and then she complains about Tenzin not being a good teacher when, I'm gonna be honest, she was a shit student. She's always
It was
been a shit
impossible to fucking teach her, dude.
Yeah. Any further points?
No, that's it.
Like Aang did. In fact, the very first thing we see her do with the Avatar state is use it to
An
win a
hour
race
14
against
minutes in, by the way.
children.
Yeah,
Why bother having Korra actually have to learn anything? Let's just give her all the Avatar tools and wipe away the last bit of the
I
Avatar
did have an
journey,
issue with
because
the Avatar
apparently that
state
would be
being
just a
mastered. I even
rehash of The
said,
Last
like,
Airbender, except not
mechanically, it
really.
would have been
In
better
fact,
if she just got it unmastered and then mastered at a later date.
Yeah, I don't know what the Avatar state being mastered really affects,
I mean, she won't
Other
tweak
than-
out with the other spirits.
other than the power scaling. Like, I feel like the only reason they gave that to her, my only argument, like, she's making a great point with the mastered. My only argument for the mastered bending is that so they can fight stronger opponents. That's it.
In fact, Korra even gets handed the fucking mastery demonstration as well. Each avatar, upon mastering the 4 elements, pulls off an impressive demonstration of their mastery, and over the course of The Last Airbender, we get to see Avatar Roku and Avatar Aang perform this display.
You know? That's the first time it clicked in my head that that's what...
They're
Dude, he was probably like, bro, I'm feeling, I think right now I'm grounded on the earth, and I feel like the only thing that matters is physical things. And then he lost his wind bidding. He's like, I actually endorse capitalism.
You think you can regain it if you just get back to spiritualism, or you think it's just gone?
Guys, I don't endorse capitalism anymore. Wind bidding comes back.
Oh my god!
They're tied to each avatar mastering the 4 elements and the avatar state, but Korra just gets it. Not even pulling
Dude,
it
my
off
throat's
herself,
so dry
just
right now.
seemingly on autopilot. Everything
bro.
the other avatars had to earn
Feel
through
that.
hard work and training,
I drank
Korra
the
is
fuck
just
out of that
given
Gatorade.
on a silver platter. Korra doesn't even have to suffer through the consequences of her own actions or the actions of the people around her. Events that would
Goddamn.
normally warrant a massive shift in Korra's character are often abandoned entirely. We just mentioned Korra being given her bending back, but this happens in every season afterward. In season 2, Unalaq rips the avatar spirit out of her and destroys it, effectively making her the last avatar. But thanks to an unsubtle plot point from earlier, she immediately recovers the avatar spirit and everything goes right back to normal.
No,
Except she can't talk.
No, she did not. No, that's a important distinction. There's a important distinction that Crown distincted for me. She did not regain the avatar spirits. She regained Vatu, which is a big difference. She cannot get wisdom no more. No more wisdom. Aang is officially dead.
Rava, not Vatsu.
Talk to
Yeah.
Aang or any
Oh,
other
Rava, my fault.
Yeah, I think she's about to make that
anymore.
point.
In season
No, never mind. She
3,
briefly
the
touched
Red
it.
Lotus poisons her with
Okay.
mercury and beats her so badly that she ends the season in a wheelchair, which might make you think that Korra has to deal with being disabled for a while. In fact, they lampshade it in the very final episode of the season. But season 4 starts 3 years later, and she's up and walking, and her recovery happened off screen. Korra doesn't
No,
even
what?
No, she's fucking disabled, dude. Dude, she's still disabled. I think.
We had to watch that annoying PTSD arc. Again, guys, PTSD itself is not annoying, it's just the way... I can only be like, damn, Korra. That PTSD's kicking your ass, when, you know, every other avatar also had, like, PTSD.
Me personally, I would never get my ass kicked by PTSD. PTSD is a joke. Except for veterans.
And people,
Shout
other
out to my
people who got
vets.
actual PTSD.
Vets. Shout out. Your PTSD
I wonder if
is
she's gonna
fucking
touch
real.
upon Jinora Jesus arc.
Real. Maybe.
learn anything fighting these people. In both season 2 and season 3, as she's losing badly, she's saved by Jinora going up and the evil is defeated. This is a fundamental problem.
I'm getting a phone call.
Alright, pause everyone. We'll be back.
I gotta pause it.
The White Lotus teaching her bending in a way that completely destroys the Avatar's journey isn't an interesting story idea. It could have been, and at the very
I
start
would
of
have
the
liked
second
more White
season,
Lotus
it almost
moments
looks
though.
like they're going.
That's something I would have preferred. Like,
I need less White Lotus moments. Those niggas were fucking fodder.
no, that's what I mean by more moments, like where they weren't fodder, you know, because they still are an elite society that have like master benders, you know. I would have preferred.
Okay, but think about who they had to fight.
No, that's what I mean.
Kavira,
Like,
maybe. I can see.
Even with Kavira, they made sure not to put the White Lotus against Kavira. Okay. But like Unalak, the Red Lotus, like they purposely only made them fight OP motherfuckers.
Yeah, I was about to say Unalak. I don't know what to say, dude. If I was the White Lotus member, they're like,
White Lotus were Jogo.
You gotta fight Unalak.
White Lotus were Jogo before JJ Kate, because you know how Jogo had to fight.
Bad matchups, horrible matchups. Mia fighting Amon, stop right there. Look, man, I'm gonna give you 3 seconds. I'm gonna break your neck. I got blood bending. You do? Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna walk away now. You better.
I'm gonna take your bending away, boy. Joke's on you. I don't even have bending. You work for this society? Bro, just go home. What?
Hey, man, they really got your ass. They really got your ass working.
It is not worth it. I promise you.
She wasn't supposed to be sheltered like this.
You can be one of 9 teams.
Korra being mad at Tenzin for a while and forcing open a way for her to be manipulated by the season's villain. It's clear that the writers were so determined to not have an Avatar journey that they just gave Korra all the Avatar powers without having to bother going through any of the actual work to get them. What compounds all this is that
because I don't think the point of this story was about the Avatar journey. It was about the consequences of being the Avatar. Oh, would you like me to repeat it?
I'm pause that shit.
It was not about the Avatar journey.
Hey, we got pretty good. The counter's only at 4.
But the consequence of being the Avatar.
Ooh, he's cooking.
I cooked. I actually gotta let my cat out.
Alright, guys. Yep.
Avatar Korra could have been if the writers had any interest in letting her be.
Look that as a spiritual thing, yeah.
Daw, this is Tenzin. He's going to help you.
Yeah, but yeah, this guy later becomes a G in the show. A recurring character.
I've never met a new airbender.
He's so real.
Well, at least not one who's.
God, you need to shave your head. I'm telling you this.
Ways the chest lasers and airbending suffocation that the rest of the show so heavily relies on.
That wasn't a good scene. I felt like that was a great scene. Because it really cemented Zahir's point. It really cemented that.
Yeah, I was like,
Zahir cannot be changed.
I mean, the laser thing, I kind of agree. I mean, I already told you I had a problem with that scene. I felt like Janora Jesus coming in and then like, and then just like
your problem comes from Janora, not the laser beams.
True.
It's the first and only time that Korra is in any way a compelling avatar, or that you could actually feel like she's grown at all. Would it have really been so horrible to have Korra?
Well, Korra is a compelling avatar all the way through. It's like, I think Korra is a case study of like what happens if you quite literally give the avatar everything they need for combat in an age of peace. How would they solve their problems? If you raise the avatar to be a hammer, everything will be nails.
Korra go through a similar journey to Aang, but with new characters and
setups. It'd have been worse. We could have gotten another
Aang's journey
jutsu.
wasn't just about learning the elements. There was a war on top of it.
So
it's
true.
Fascinating that he mastered the elements faster than any avatar ever had before. In The Legend of Korra, there is no journey, so the story has to stand up entirely on its villains, 3 of which are horribly mangled with contradictory philosophy on par with Pokemon Black and White, and the 4th of which is just Firelord Ozai with less intimidation factor. On top of all that,
what?
She was fucking scary.
Not only that, like her, like. Less intimidating. She had an actual. I mean, we're not gonna talk about comics, so you know, I'm not gonna bring those up. But like, I'm just saying, like, even in the show, her point made a lot of sense. Zhaofu was quite literally acting like, oh, we didn't want to get involved because I didn't want to get power hungry and steal territory. Are you afraid you would change? Like, you yourself are smart enough to not get power hungry. What do you mean you didn't want to take control? Release them once you fix it.
Like, I think what's crazy is the thing that makes her such a scary character. If I was a earthbender at the time living in the Earth Kingdom, I would probably be part of her legion. I think that scares me.
Yeah, but
because
like,
no one knows how much she's a monster she is, but only the higher ups. Well, everybody in the Fire Kingdom knew how big that nigga was a monster was.
No, and even the higher ups that knew were like, now a real monster because it's short-term evil for long-term like goodness.
Good.
Which again, I'm not saying Boleyn didn't agree with it, but like Boleyn was still down with the cause, even if he's like, could you say this was a joke? Like he was willing to overlook it if Caveira just lied.
Yeah, exactly.
Later seasons pull the Steven Universe gambit of using trauma in place of actual character development. After being poisoned by Zaire, Korra spends most of the 4th season wandering around the Earth Kingdom after having lost her avatar mojo. Well, okay, I guess that makes sense. Being beaten that badly will certainly leave this kind of effect on someone, but the problem is that she's the avatar, and it's been 3 fucking years. The fucking avatar, who faces near-death experiences on a constant basis and even had her own goddamn soul ripped out of her body and slapped around like a wet paper towel,
wasn't her
has
own
been
soul.
walking
that
around
wasn't her
the
soul.
state for 3 years after this one fight, which wasn't even the worst fight she's ever been in. She reacts to Zaire with the kind
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't the worst fight she ever been in. She had PTSD from all her fights, right? She had imagery. We see imagery from all her
Zahir
fights.
was just the one that stuck around because Zahir was still a living
alive.
person.
Yeah, it was a cumulative. It was a cumulative PTSD because we seen when Zahir was fucking with her. She seen images of everybody. She got PTSD of everyone.
Even when the fight with Caveira, we see her the hair turn into Amon's hair to then Unalak, not Una. Yeah, it is Unalak's hair, and then Zahir. It's like we see the progress of her like
PTSD. Yeah, we seen it. We seen it. I don't know what the fuck she's on about.
A war veteran, but Zaire isn't the worst villain she's fought, and didn't even give her the most traumatic experience she's ever had. The fact that Korra shrugged off far worse than this means that the attempt to pull the trauma card on this one person rings completely hollow and smacks of desperation in response.
I mean, who are you to decide what trauma is something? Like some people can handle certain events way better.
Exactly. I actually agree with that shit way harder. If you're coming from the standpoint, nigga, you're the avatar. This is supposed to be light work. Hey, I don't want to let niggas know, but although you're born to be the avatar, you're not born with trauma durability.
Not only that, like the fact of it, like, it wasn't even the worst ass kicking. How do you have PTSD about this? It's like, but who do you don't get to decide.
Nigga, you weren't there.
Like you don't get to decide what is traumatic. I want to say the fight with Unalak, yeah, that shit might have been more traumatic to you, but that was a quick succession. That was like back to back. Zahir was drawn out.
You remember when we were there? We were standing by the wind temple. We were watching a fight. I let you borrow my binoculars. We were there. We were watching that shit. You're like, damn, bro. How did we get inside the TV? I was like, I don't know, but stay away from that bitch.
We did evolve.
We did evolve.
No, yeah, but like
all my niggas did evolve.
But like the poison again, because the Unalak fight
that's a girl, right?
No, that's a guy. That's Genora's boyfriend. Zahir, the Zahir fight was a drawn-out process. It was poison. We seen him like slowly progress, right? The Unalak fight was back. Like the fight was consistent. There was no time to think about. Zahir was, damn, I'm really gonna die chained up.
Zahir was fucking torture because we know the poison. The poison wasn't just normal poison. That shit hurt going in.
And coming out.
That is crazy. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe what they're saying.
Is the most compelling is also the character who's the least interesting in the show. Bolin responds to Zaire's anarchist rampage by pendulum swinging in the opposite direction and supporting an authoritarian dictator with an almost zealous conviction because anything is better than the chaos.
Let me see what she says.
Zaire has brought over the Earth Kingdom, but the show doesn't dwell on it.
Okay.
They seemingly write off Bolin's allegiance to Kuvira.
Bolin joined the authoritative side because A, no one knew she was authoritative. B, he grew up in the slums and was watching villages of people die because of starvation and anarchy. Why would he actively not join the faction that makes it so people don't go through what he went through? Which he tells Mako. And tells Mako
it wasn't a pendulum. It wasn't a pendulum swing. It was a fucking character-defining moment.
Jeez, bro. Jeez.
I don't know, bro.
Kuvira as a result of him being stupid, given by how certain everyone is that Kuvira is evil. We'll get into season 4 in a little bit, but this small fact being overlooked.
Everybody is so certain that Kuvira is evil because they were speaking to Kuvira's literal op the entire fucking time. Am I wrong on that?
No.
Did they get the message?
Like, Bolin points out, it's like, you don't know Kuvira like I do. Which Mako's like, or maybe you've just been brainwashed. It's like, okay, bro.
You've been talking to Caveira's op the entire
Speaks
time, my nigga.
volumes about the difference in priorities when it comes to character design. The show wants me to feel pity for Korra because she's struggling through PTSD, but I've seen Korra shrug off far worse than this, and so I don't feel any pity for her. This is also the hardest part of Korra's character to criticize in any meaningful way, because writers pull the trauma as character design card specifically because most people will fall for it. Most people.
Oh, by the way, you also gotta remember her PTSD it doesn't really come from the fight itself. It came from her lack of control in that moment because she couldn't control herself. That's very important. Her biggest fear is Korra herself. It's like a Batman becoming evil type thing.
People will see this as a compelling story concept rather than the lazy tug on the heartstrings it truly is. Korra is introduced as a brash and impulsive avatar with no respect for the spiritual side of bending and little understanding of her role as the avatar.
Damn, how many times have we seen this clip?
Same person. But what makes that different from similar characters like
I know, but it better not be copyrighted.
The show pretends that they've evolved her character at all, and then has the gall to expect you to believe it.
What do you mean expected? We see it through actions. You don't gotta believe. Okay.
You not believe, nigga. We seen it. Breaking bending. Okay.
Let's see how she.
By the way, could this old lady get it? Be honest.
I feel like if she didn't get it, she would bloodbend someone to get it.
Dude, we're not done. No, I'm tired. Bloodbending.
No, bro. I like how in Korra they call out Katara. Like she's like, bloodbending was banned because Katara was weak. It's like, bro, how one person ban a whole bending type? Granted, that one person did date the Avatar and marry the Avatar. Damn, you know, that explains a lot of things.
Dude, if I dig down the Avatar, I better be able to ban a whole bending type.
I'd be so mad if I was like a proficient bloodbender just to get outlawed for knowing bloodbending. Like, bro, come on.
During season 2, Iroh teaches Zuko about how he discovered a firebending technique to redirect lightning by studying the waterbenders, and teaches the value of incorporating the spiritual aspects of different bending styles into one's own. And then later, in the Crossroads of Destiny, Zuko does that. A new way to bend fire is learned by studying waterbenders, and it's conveyed entirely through the way the bender actually moves, conjuring fire like a wave. The reason earthbending is so difficult for Aang to learn is because he's had it ingrained to him that being light on his feet and agile is the best tactic, and earthbending relies on you being rooted and immovable. He has to change the way he approaches an encounter in order to master earthbending. That's the plot of an entire episode. It's not just a matter of martial arts either, it's also about being resourceful. The Legend of Korra takes all this detail, rolls it up into a ball, and then throws it in the fire so that they can wank off shitty 1920s technology some more. First of all, in 90% of the show, bending forward has been watered down to little more than generic punches and kicks. This is sort of written off with Korra.
That is the evolution of martial arts. Nowadays, the best fighting style is MMA. You can't argue with that. It's just how it is.
Remarking on modern styles of fighting and Tenzin being dismissive of them, but we all know the actual reason. The animation is so focused on making things look pretty with little regard to how they're supposed to move. So making a character as over-designed as Korra,
if we were in the tech era and people were still doing a whole like dance to shoot fire, you're gonna get shot.
Yeah, I will just shoot. Nigga, give me a car. I'll run you over. I would not be afraid of game member. Let me tell you, if they doing all that, nigga, I'm running you over.
I think we have only seen one, like, besides airbending, like one person do the full like animation for movements, and that was Mako in season 4 when he was like charging up lightning by like making go back and forth in his hand before shooting it. That's just because he needed to build more current for what the fuck he was about to do.
And we've seen what happens to niggas. Once again, there's a hero moment. I'm not gonna insert the clip, but we've seen what happens to niggas who are too slow on the draw in this universe.
Shit, we seen what happened to Amon when he was bloodbending too slow and got shot with lightning by Mako. Like,
yeah, nigga, do not take your time with bending. Get that shit done. It is a weapon. It is a tool.
Scope of the animation budget, even down to the lip syncing, which is little more than open and closed mouths, except in certain instances where characters are deliberately enunciating for comic effect. Despite each individual frame looking much nicer in The Last Airbender, the actual quality of the animation has degraded considerably, and the same studio worked on that Voltron cartoon where the same thing happened. The quality of the art has gone up, while the actual animation has plummeted because making it actually move is just too difficult. Just take a look at how over-designed Korra is, from the hair ties to the waist skirting and the ties coming off with that additional—
That's not over-designing. Over-designing would be unnecessary shit. This is actually unnecessary for a character. From what I know, this is average waterbender gear.
Which Bolin points out because he thought she was appropriating it.
Exactly.
flap underneath, her clothes baggy and loose hanging, and all that free moving detail is completely asinine
Yeah,
for
'cause she's
anything
sliding
to
her
animate.
feet.
Especially
For a
if
fighter,
you're
yeah.
traditional 2D animation, which is as user-friendly as Microsoft Front Page and is the reason it's been discontinued by most animation studios in favor of Flash or CGI.
No.
Incidentally, this was a joke in The Last Airbender.
This was 6 years ago, by the way.
Pretty slick, huh? All I need to complete the outfit is a wind sword.
What's a wind sword?
Is where I get a sword handle, and then I just swing this around and bend air out like a blade.
Yeah, nice.
I don't think
I'll just stick to what.
I don't think that was a joke on the animation budget. I think that was a joke on kids being kids, like kids over accessorizing. That is something kids will actually do. If they find cool gear and shit, they will just put it all on.
I got.
Also
Something
something
the
like
creators
most
made
people who
fun
play
of
MMOs
is
can
now
relate to.
They're doing with a
You just
straight
wouldn't get
face,
it.
and that's just sad. In
You're
fact,
not a
once season
gamer.
4 came around and Nickelodeon slashed the team's budget, they responded by flat out removing most of this detail from Korra's model, and she wasn't the only one either. Asami had most of her defining details altered as well, so that the animators could actually move her without causing an economic recession. But it's more than just a need for everything to be prettier to the point that it's too hard to move. Let's take the Avatar.
I just thought of that. Now you could say it's that. I just thought it makes logical sense within the show that she would lose some of the water bending gear when she mainly stayed in Republic City.
Avatar State, for instance. The
Asami
Avatar State
became
is a
broke.
simple idea.
Yeah, that's all
When
I'm
the
saying.
Avatar
Asami
or
got
someone
broke,
the
no
Avatar
one-
loves is in
so-
serious peril, they can summon
Yeah, I
the
wouldn't
combined
go
might of
around
every
dressing all
previous
that extra
Avatar
shit.
into a desperate bid to get out of danger. In The Last Airbender, the Avatar State is an event precisely because Aang had to get the shit kicked out of him in order for it to even trigger. So not only was it rare, it was extremely powerful. It did carry the risk that being killed in the Avatar State means no more Avatar, but good luck doing that. In The Legend of Korra, Korra can trigger the Avatar State at will, which means the Avatar State can't be as powerful as it used to be, otherwise she's completely unkillable. So Korra goes into the Avatar State.
No, it was still as powerful. It was
just
still
that
as
Korra
powerful
was
for my
bad at
knowledge.
using it. And not because she was just bad at controlling elements, but just because she didn't know what the fuck to do in modern era stuff. Because if she tried doing, the big, we only think airbenders can do the bubble, but in the instance she can do the bubble we see Aang do. That's a long ass loading time. I'm gonna get hit with metal,
That charge up is fucking crazy. And then you got to think, Vin, I'm pretty sure she was poisoned at the time with this whole shit.
Get a whole lot of
I didn't think
benefit
she
from it,
came
does
back. She was
gets the
unpoisoned.
shit
She
kicked
Oh, no,
out
no,
of
she
her
had
in
already
the
taken
Avatar
poison
State
out by this
almost
stage,
every
but
time
she
uses it,
Oh, she
and in
did?
most cases,
Yeah,
going
she was
into
still
the
suffering
Avatar
from
State
PTSD.
only
She
ever
didn't
puts
feel
her on the
toxic.
same
Yeah.
level as whoever she's fighting. The Avatar State means nothing. It has to mean nothing, because if it
No,
didn't,
but she
then no
won this
conflict would
fight.
ever
She
have
just
any
the
tension
PTSD
at
made her
all.
drop.
Do that instead of doing anything
that's actually a
that
complaint
clever
I
or
had.
character establishing. The writers opted.
No, that's true. For that, I just think that no, I got nothing other than a retcon. Other than that shit being retconned. What do you think?
I don't know. I also said that it's weird that the requirement for the Avatar State's the same requirement to fly, because they both required you to not have earthly attachments. But, yeah, I
It
don't
could
know.
have been
the
switched
Princess
over.
Celestia approach, where Korra
Maybe
can
it was-
use the
maybe the
Avatar State
Avatar
all
was
the
meant to
time,
fly
but
all
it's about as
along.
effective as slapping someone with a wet paper towel. The very idea of bending was watered down so much that they up and turned it into a professional sport.
No,
Now,
that's
I
supposed
could
to
talk
show
for
how it
hours about
What?
how
progressed.
so much time is wasted on pro bending and how
What?
it overrides so much of the interesting ideas of bending.
She's
to the point
yapping.
that it accidentally serves as the only example of inequality in Republic
Nigga,
City that I'm yammering
what?
on about. But somebody already beat me to that subject, and I can't figure out a way to write out this thesis in a way that doesn't come off as explicit plagiarism. In Avatar, bending made the world move. Everything, even whole cultures, was built around bending in some way. In Korra, that world design is abandoned. We see very little of
Yeah,
the
because
water,
time
earth,
evolved and
fire
Aang
nations,
tried
and now
making
the majority-
equality. Which is why we said
I
that
don't
inequality.
need water bending if I have a fucking car.
No, but I literally told you about this, how it's weird that people blame Aang for relieving the inequality when, he set up the city to not be on that basis, which so bending didn't make that. That's why there's fucking presidents.
Dude.
That's why there was an
That is
election
fucking
board.
crazy. That is fucking crazy.
of the story
No,
takes
I'm not gonna
place
say
in
the
a
election board was
steampunk-esque city
foolproof.
that is-
Fair.
I don't know. Yeah, fair, but damn.
It was there. It's definitely there.
screaming New York circa 1920. And that's the problem. The nations in Avatar have always drawn on elements of Asian cultures, but they also merge that idea seamlessly with each nation's element. By taking most of the story out of the different nations and to the United Republic, the impact that bending has on the culture that surrounds it is gone, to be replaced by a hybrid of real-world cities from the most
it's a fucking hybrid city, so it would all be in one place. No shit.
It kind of makes sense. I will make this story being a hybrid city instead of fucking 4 separate nations.
And
why would I do that?
And we see when Korra goes to the Earth that your point is still very true. Bending still makes the world go round. Except in Republic City, the city made by Aang to be equality. Like, the Earth's still fucking evil as shit. I mean, well, no, I can't say evil as shit because Dai Li are still doing random shit for the Queen, and that's why he's here Opter. The Fire Nation's the only true nation that kind of stopped being kind of assholes, and that's because they're doing reparations because they feel guilty
for being so fucking evil.
Age of the 20th century.
No TV, movies suck. I'm here with my gal.
By the way, found out that dragon that Zuko was riding was a dragon they found. That's a whole different dragon than the 2 dragons we've seen, but people theorize that dragon's the baby of the 2 dragons we've seen. Because you remember the golden egg he picked up and said it feels like it's alive.
Dude, I remember having the conversation, who the fuck you get a dragon?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about the 1920s that keeps making people think it's a good idea to set animated works there, but after years of steampunk wannabe knockoffs,
I actually think the setting was dope as fuck.
The entire concept becomes unnecessarily trite. And the hilarious part is that Republic City is the only place this fucking happens. You see many glimpses of the water tribes in the Earth Kingdom, they're still very much steeped in their culture.
Sorry, yeah, the third world fucking countries. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to say the fucking bumfuck buck-twos of nowhere.
Okay, well, if we're the scene we're seeing right now is the northern, I'm pretty sure, which I think that's the northern or southern, the one that's really good. Anyways, that city was advanced even before the other cities, so they don't really gotta change shit. Then the northern, when they tried getting advanced, Katara was like, I don't like my city being a copycat of the other tribes. Let's go back to living in igloos, which again, I fucking hate Katara. She's the only in that instance, because she's the reason that that tribe is so in the past. Like literally the northern tribe. Again, I think I'm using the wrong tribes, but the northern tribe, full iron military navy ships that we've seen arrive. Them wooden ships, wooden fucking ship. Varric was the only one with a metal ship. Are you kidding me? How are you guys?
I was gonna say plus. The metal bending area that's especially made for metal benders to be metal bending, that kind of makes sense. I feel like that's an unfair comparison.
And the Earth
I
Kingdom,
feel like we're comparing like rustic bumfuck 2 places to the great city that is the United Republic.
Oh, what do you call it? In the Earth City, like they make the point of the airships here are shit. It's like, yeah, no shit, the airships here are shit because they're poor. The Earth Kingdom's poor compared to Republic City.
Cultural architecture and design. Worse off is that the United Republic is radiating Americana from every orifice, to the point of being bolted onto the Earth Kingdom like a lingering infection. For fuck's sake, there's a giant statue of Aang on an island in the harbor that screams Statue of Liberty. The entire design
Yoshi had a giant statue.
New York,
okay.
The origins of the Avatar.
I think the point was that America isn't too bad, bro, and it was still based on Asian culture. And I can tell you it's still based on Asian culture because I didn't see a single black guy. I didn't see a single black guy or a single Mexican.
Not to mention that the argument of it was bolted on the Earth Nation. Well, that's because those were the colonies that the Fire Lord had, and Zuko was like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't return the colonies to the Earth Kingdom because all the tribes started working together in these colonies, and return them to the Earth. The Earth's gonna excommunicate anybody who isn't Earth."
Real Americanization, if you're gonna say this is a copy of America, real Americanization is a copy of American culture, and that means having a mixing pot. I don't see no white people. I don't see no black people. I see no Mexican people. I only see people from Asian countries. This is not Americanization. This is not what America represents. All right, I'm a goddamn American. All right, I've been on this fucking
speed through this video right now, bro.
God and Satan, and give yourself unto Jesus.
No, we're not. That's the best part about recording.
I thought you were on a time limit.
And every theme in the series can be boiled down to
but I gotta tell
great, everything else sucks because I said so. That is, except in the first season where we have to maintain the status quo, except for the part where the United Republic's leader isn't called a president yet. It's almost as if somebody
Okay.
looked at the rich Eastern coding of the Avatar universe and
they
thought,
weren't
not enough
presidents yet.
America, and started bolting stars and
an
stripes
election
onto everything
team.
they could see.
It was a
But the
board of directors. So yeah.
I actually think Korra's setting is unique. A fun twist of America, of mixed win with America, without all the the other races and shit, and in Asian culture. I don't know why you're hating on it so hard.
But the biggest act of vandalism on the world design is the airbenders. The air nomads were on the brink of extinction even at the start of Legend of Korra. After Aang's
Yes.
death, Tenzin and his children were the only remaining airbenders. This is a scar left on the world by the 100-Year War. A scar that will take hundreds of years to heal and will persist as a constant reminder of the horrors of Fire Lord Sozin, Azulon, and Ozai. Just kidding! Starting in season 3, bullshit spirit magic makes airbenders pop up everywhere.
Not bullshit spirit magic. That's actually very important. It was balanced. That was the issue. I forgot what happened, but I think it was like well, not Botu. What's the spirit name that controls bending?
Energy.
No.
Oh, you mean like technically it was Korra leaving the portals open that caused this, because like harmonic convergence happened, in which meant
Okay. The fact is, the spirit realm saying, "Hey, bro, one of the bendings is gone." That's not balance. Let me fix that. That actually makes sense in the world.
Long-lasting effects on the world. Fuck the scars caused by war.
And even then,
Fuck the
it was
very
like
concept of things taking
it
time.
wasn't even that many benders. Like I know how he's making an example. Like it wasn't even enough to like fill up an air temple. Because even like Tenzin was like, maybe one day we'll fill up all the temples again. Because there was like 30, 40 people, like max.
Wait, I was about to say it was 30, 40 people. Like that shit was not that much.
Not counting the people who didn't actually join them because they decided
A
to stay
small
home.
militia.
Yeah.
Airbenders everywhere, go and fuck yourself. Let's just have more airbenders because that would be cool without actually thinking about the impact that has. And if you
No,
thought
they
the
thought
culture
about
of
it.
airbending
No, they definitely thought about it. Which is why they got
its last
fucking
legs and
damn
had
near
to slowly
kidnapped from their
rise back
house.
to prominence would
And
have
why
been actually
Tenzin had to
interesting.
evolve
You
from
get to eat shit.
old bending to modern bending, because he realized like these aren't the airbenders of the past. These are their own individual people.
Because we wanted
So
more
real.
airbenders. And also we wanted an evil airbender. Ooh, I'm so edgy. And also we're gonna hang a lampshade on the fact that we're scrubbing away the entire
It's crazy because I actually think Zahir wouldn't. I think Zahir still would have been the threat even without bending. If he would have just broken out regularly, I feel like Zahir still would have been the threat.
Yeah, but I don't think he would have broken up in general. If he...
Oh yeah, but you could always write in a breakout. I want to remind you, they wrote in a breakout for fucking Tai Long, and look how that nigga was sealed.
True.
Zahir was not sealed like how Tai Long was sealed. They're always a plot convenient ass way to write out a breakout.
culture of the air nomads to just be airbending and nothing else. It's actually alarming just how much of the cultural origins of the world of Avatar gets scrubbed by the creepy Americanization.
No, wait.
Because there's an episode where Tenzin was trying to teach them the culture and they weren't receptive to it. So he became like a hard ass. And then he went back to normal.
Which is ironic because the themes of The Last Airbender explicitly condemned this kind of imperialism. The United Republic was created from occupied Earth Kingdom territory to the point where two different villains remark on it with plans to take it back, and this is viewed as a bad thing. It's a good thing this was the Korea-inspired Earth Kingdom rather than the Water Tribe, or more people would have caught on to the implications. More to the point, its unique culture is credited as being the result of both immigration and...
Go ahead.
No, I did the because I was like,
revolution.
It's seen as a bad thing because
how about that shit?
They stopped. Okay, it was seen as a bad thing. They both wanted the territory back, and it was seen as a bad thing because they didn't just want the territory back and then leave it as is. They wanted the territory back, and then to make anybody who was an Earth citizen leave. You know that was the fucking issue.
They're fucking racist.
Yeah.
It's strange that The Legend of Korra goes to so much effort to scrub away the thing that made Avatar unique. Eastern culture that's not Japan being the basis for the entire world design, and thoroughly explore the differences between those cultures with the avatar of each cycle continuing to sport the garb of their native homeland. And now we have to watch all of that get scrubbed away and...
You just fucking complaining about that shit though? Wasn't you just complaining about the garb of their native homeland being too much of the time?
In favor of Western architecture, Western technology, Western politics, Western neoliberal...
Okay, you putting Western technology? What the fuck does that mean? Technology can be used by any people. Yeah, it may be made in the West, but it's made here in this universe.
Capitalist propaganda. The first season's bad guys are essentially...
That was communist propaganda.
the bastardized, poorly understood version of communism that Americans have been so thoroughly terrified of for decades. Dressed up with a fresh coat of Occupy Wall Street paint. They really were married to this idea. Oh, by the way, speaking of marriage...
I was gonna say, it was more like communism, but let's not forget, it wasn't fucking communism. It was about putting non-benders back on equal terms. Bastardization of communism in America has workers as the power dynamic, but workers, anybody can be a fucking worker.
I'm
You
really
can be
interested on this next segment.
Go ahead.
No. I mean, like, in this next segment, they're about to explain, because I want to see what their points are. Because there's some really good points they can argue here, and there's some really stupid points, and I'm really wondering which points they're gonna go into.
Yeah, but you can be a rich worker, and still work. But like, you can be a rich worker and still be a worker, right? The problem with this version of fucking quote unquote communism is that there is an innate power dynamic, a really strong innate power dynamic. It's like if I said only some people can get a gun, right, in America, and I get to pick those people who get a gun. That is a really strong power dynamic to have. So Amon's thing was trying to get everybody a gun, or get everybody on equal footing with people that has a gun. Socially, of course. That makes perfect sense. I wouldn't really necessarily say it's a bastardization of communism, because I would say that's actually really far removed from communism. I think communism is about, and Crown could correct me on this, he's a communist. He wrote the Communist Manifesto.
Whoa. Not a communist, not a communist. I had to do it for my class. Calm down.
Hi. Communism, I'm pretty sure, is about the perceived notion of a power dynamic, while this is a physical power dynamic. Something that makes you uniquely different.
Miserable hand. Though everyone should always remember, communism is just a really screwed form of Karl Marx's socialism. So it's not even good.
Romance was always the black sheep of Avatar.
It's not even
mostly
good.
The characters being around 12 to 14, it was never really all that present outside of a few episodes in the series finale. With the new cast being around their early 20s, things get messy.
Wacky.
Talking about the issues with romance is a lot harder than anything else in this script, because it's the one thing that even the most diehard fans agree was handled extremely poorly. Let's start with the obvious one. The love triangle. So Bolin's got the hots for Korra because she can crush a watermelon with her thighs.
You mean the
Korra's
love
got the
square?
hots for Mako because it's generic and brooding with the Batman story, and that's what the two men writing the show think women like. Only Mako starts dating Asami, the generically pretty businesswoman who manages to go 3/4 of the series without a personality. But then Korra kisses Mako, OMG, which breaks Bolin's heart, but it's okay, he gets over it. Only Asami finds out later and suddenly becomes super jealous and starts wondering why Mako's so worried about Korra when Korra was captured by Amon. Seriously, Asami, what the fuck kind of timing do you have, you insufferable little shit? And then Asami spends the next few episodes being really passive-aggressive toward Mako, and I guess they break up because at the end, Korra and Mako get together in time for the season finale. An uncomfortable amount of the first season is spent dwelling on this love diamond, but because the writers have all the tact and social graces of Justin Bieber and the Holocaust Museum, all the actual material takes place at the most inopportune.
Isn't a love diamond where everybody likes each other? Does it have to be two-way? I'm pretty sure love triangles, like, there's one person at the top, and that one person likes the other two, but the two at the bottom also like each other.
No. Love triangle, the two in the bottom do not need to like each other. I thought you said love diamond. That's why I said I don't know. The love triangle.
Asami starts to get suspicious.
Just the two people at the bottom need to like the person at the top.
He's being extremely worried about her well-being while they're searching for her after she was
Lynn is such a baddie.
by the Equalist.
Damn, look at all that ass back there.
And without the avatar,
amen, brother.
The writers picked the worst
You
possible
think it's metal,
time
Gray?
to start developing more of this romantic subplot.
Okay.
Worse off, as
Bolin
the
and
season progresses, the
Zombie
characters
should have ended up
involved in these
together.
subplots become
That's
less
a
and
lie.
less interesting. In season 2, Mako
wish
breaks
Bolin
up
in the water.
Yeah. I was Bill and married the water lady too, man.
Korra and gets back together with Asami, but then walks back on it when Korra loses her memory. This made Mako hated among the viewer base, but what I'm wondering here is why Asami or Bolin never spoke up about it. They both knew, and they were both in a position to do something about it, but instead Bolin briefly teases Mako about the whole thing while Asami remains suspiciously quiet. This whole scene is treated like a big
she just came back from a traumatic experience, and imagine being like,
oh,
hello boyfriend, how's it going? Oh yeah, dude, we broke up. You remember this guy?
Broke up. Silence, crickets. Cricket, no!
And the characters involved are. Also in season 2, Bolin gets into an abrupt relationship with Unalaq's daughter, but I use the word relationship extremely loosely. Eska just decides that Bolin belongs to her, not answering when Bolin asks if she means as a boyfriend or a slave, and then proceeds to drag him around for half the season, abusing him at every possible opportunity and
These
if
are
you
your
think you're
enemies.
abusive, if you think you're abusive, if you think this is abuse, you're not a real nigga. This is a real nigga relationship. This is a relationship real niggas want. You're just not a real nigga.
I was really expecting you to say the wrong pronouns, bro. I was waiting. I had my hand over the counter.
I was about to say something totally different from the wrong pronouns, but it was on the same line of being a transphobe. And I stopped. I stopped myself. I'm just saying. This is what real niggas want. You're not a nigga. You're a female. You wouldn't be able to relate.
Hog tying him into marriage. And what do Olin's brother or his friends do about it? They fucking laugh. You could say that's expected considering the bullshit that goes on between Mako.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna lie to you, crowd. If this happened to you, I would laugh my ass off. And I feel like vice versa. I feel like vice versa.
If
I feel like
I
vice
got
versa.
groomed, you would laugh your ass off.
Nigga, this isn't grooming. This isn't grooming.
That would be the way I follow that so hard.
But if this happened to you, where you're like trying to hit on a woman, and she quite literally like drags you into a relationship, I would laugh.
And
I would laugh.
And
I'm
then
gonna be
like
honest.
within the week gets me engaged.
Oh yeah, I'd be laughing my ass off. I'd be laughing my ass off because it would be like, which shit did you get into?
I mean,
How the
shit.
fuck did we get
I was
here?
gonna say, well, I wouldn't, and then I remembered the person that starts with an N that you met. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't say shit.
Yeah. I get you. Like, it would be funny. It would be fucking funny. I get you.
And Asami, but the show treats this like a big joke as well, escalating, lol, to Bolin being chased across continents by.
Honestly, I really think it's just dude humor. I think it's just dude humor. I only say that because my homie like injured himself today, right? He tripped and he fell on the pointy part of the sink.
Ooh.
Got a huge scar against his ribs, and we're all sitting there, all the females in the Taco Bell. Oh my god, what happened? What happened to him? What happened to him? Me and Jared fucking dying of laughter. Dying. And then when he gets up, he's fucking laughing. Being hurt is funny, dude. I'm sorry to tell you. Like injury is funny. Yeah, the only time it stops being funny where you face real mental trauma. But if you don't show outwardly that you don't face no real mental trauma, only physical, I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna laugh. It's kind of like those videos of the soldiers getting their arm cut off or some shit, and then like everybody thinks it's funny until they're like, "No, my arm!" Until it like really seeps in. You know what I'm saying? That they're really fucking sad about it. But if they're not sad about it, niggas are gonna keep laughing.
By a murderous woman he leaves at the altar, because of course he leaves Eska at the altar. She's fucking nuts, and if Bolin stays with her, he's going to die. And then toward the end, they just write the whole thing off, as if we didn't just spend part of the season laughing at Bolin's obvious distress and anxiety. The sad part is that this could have been the most interesting thing in the entire series if the writers had taken it even remotely seriously, and not just assumed that abusive relationships are funny when the abuser is a woman. And I know that's why they thought it was funny, because it's the same reason Korra can't seem to fight her way out of a paper bag and keeps needing Mako, Bolin, and Tenzin to save her. Oops. Can you tell one of the creators?
Honestly, I'm gonna be real. Abusive relationships are not funny when it's a dude, because dudes have the man, how do I say this? Dudes who are being abusive in a relationship have the tendency to hit their partner. And that shit is not funny. Me as a guy will not hit another guy if I consider him weaker than me. There's some niggas in my life who I see are beneath me when it comes to strength scale, whether it be morally or physically. I won't hit those niggas, or I won't emotionally attack those niggas, because that's not okay. Abuse when it comes to women, though, as long as she doesn't have a knife and her punches don't actually hit, like if Corey abused me, we have to fight. Korra's a nigga. Actually, fuck that. We're not gonna fight. Me and Crown are gonna set up automatic rifles in the front door, because I actually don't want to. I actually don't want to come close. Fighting her is too risky.
And no, because like she got hit with one of the laser beams, and I don't know. I don't think a gun could work on her. I'm gonna be honest.
M80. Do you think me and Crown will save up money to buy tanks? And with those things,
bro, what the fuck? She's a metal bender. That would be wasting money.
What the fuck do we do, crowd, if we get abused by Korra?
You like it.
No, what do we do if I'm getting abused by Korra? Crap? What do we
you
do?
learn to like it, okay? What you gonna do? Tell the world you, a man, was abused by Korra?
What the fuck the world gonna do, bro?
Exactly my point. Now take that beating up by the Avatar like a man.
Dude, try to. Korra, I don't think this is real. You fell. Yeah, Korra, I fell.
What are you talking to my dad about? Huh? We're talking.
You fell in an ice skiing accident. An ice skiing accident? Ah!
Yeah, I swear that's how Mako would have felt. Like, must have felt like when anytime Korra raised his voice, that because he flinched.
Dude, I would, dude, that was.
Because Mako didn't flinch, but like, he was always like ready to shoot fire at her.
Dude, I would piss myself. I'm pissed myself.
Like when he broke up and she broke the desk,
You?
like Mako was about to deck her, and that's the funniest shit to me. Because it's like, no matter what relationship they had, Mako was ready to swing if she swung first.
Did you use all the milk and place the car in back? Is there still a little left? A little for what? I don't drink coffee. I know. I'm sorry. You should have just used it all. Yeah. I should have. Drink the milk. I'm not thirsty. Dude, drink the milk. I'm not thirsty. Drink the fucking milk. You like that?
Not because. Nah, bro, because then if she's like, I'm gonna get my own milk, and like, you know, she milks you and then forces you to drink that milk, you know.
Work on Family Guy? Actually, that's
We're
not a fair
fucking
comparison,
done.
Because at least when Family Guy did an episode about domestic abuse, they had the decency to kill the obviously abusive piece of shit. Worse even is that Esker returns in season 4 to spout rhetoric about how being a girlfriend and being a boss are the same thing. This feels like all those stand-up comedy routines about how marriage is a sacrifice of one's freedom, but without the sarcasm or the
It kinda is. It's a sacrifice of both freedoms.
realization that it's still not funny even with the sarcasm.
Also, give it up to
Thankfully,
Eska
during
being the
season 3, they
first,
kept
the
romance
first
to the
like
same level they
dual
had in The
tribe.
Last
I
Airbender.
mean,
and even in season
people
4,
with shared power, you know, it's 2 kings, 2 queens, whatever, 2 chiefs.
Yeah, they got that shit on lockdown. Me personally, I would not share my power with anybody.
they had the
Not
common
even
sense
your
to keep
twin?
most of the relationships as already having.
Not even what?
Not even your twin.
My evil twin? Or am I the evil twin?
Okay, I'm positive.
Established, taking the 3-year time difference to open these pairings.
Complain about it, yep,
But
session
they
we're 2 hours
just
in.
couldn't help themselves, and at the very end of the season, they
bro.
matched up
I'm
Korra
looking at the
and
clock,
Asami. The two of them
and I'm
walk
like,
into the spirit world
so we
together,
have until 8?
seemingly having become a couple.
We're
And I
we're
say
slowly
seemingly
running out of
because the writers
time.
had to confirm it in a public statement because it was apparently that ambiguous. Apparently, this time they had a statement to make about it, claiming that it was an important leap for representation and the like. But that all rings hollow because it happened the very last possible minute of the very last season, presumably to avoid any potential backlash from potential.
I'm gonna be honest. I do think this relationship was necessary in Korra for the relationship we have in Adventure Time to run. Ooh,
I wish
can I
Mako
say
would have
that
ended
again?
up. I wish Mako would have ended up with someone. That's all my complaint is. I don't
Okay,
care.
can I say it again?
I don't care
I'm
they
so-
were together. I just cared that Mako ended up alone.
This relationship walked. Put me in an edit, guys. No. This relationship walked. So Adventure Time relationship can run.
Okay, unpause this.
Being dead ass.
Potentially hurting their bottom line. It's yelling bisexual avatar really quickly before slamming the door behind
Okay,
you
but
and
like
sprinting down
the
the
previous
road.
2
It's
female
saying,
avatars were
"Oh,
gay
here
too.
for our LGBT."
Yeah, I feel like having a gay avatar and all that shit. I wouldn't be a gay avatar. If I was a female, I would be a gay avatar.
I will say something. If the new Earthbender is bi too and he ends up like with a guy, I'll be like, damn, bro, like 2 gay avatars back to back.
You think they use Earth as dildos?
According to that one porn comic made by Shade Base, you know, was it?
Oh,
no.
you cannot mention that nigga on the internet.
Oh,
that nigga got scrubbed. Yeah, don't do that. That one. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even reference that you seen that. I'll tell you later. But
what happened?
No.
Okay, do
Nah,
I have to edit this now or like?
I would say honestly, I'm not gonna edit my shit. You know I don't edit my shit.
Yeah, I don't edit my shit either.
So you gotta pray no one comes to see mine because I'm not gonna edit my shit.
No,
For
I'm
that.
not gonna edit my shit either. So,
but like, for you personally,
it's too late, bro. We're syncing together.
You might want to edit. You might would have edited that on your side.
LGBT friends
What
and family, but none of it means potentially.
I'll tell you
causing a
after.
rape before it won't matter anymore. I suppose I should consider this
Yeah,
a
I'm not
blessing
editing this
considering
shit.
the horrifying shit
this is
show
2
we've had
hours
to
long.
experience
You know
so
how long
far.
that would
But ever
take?
since Steven Universe has been finding ways to
Last time I
highlight
edited
gay
a 2 hour long
relationships
video
behind fusion
was
and
that
death.
fucking Star Wars one with Nyx. That took 2 days.
Where he said ER.
Yeah, where he continued to say it, and I had to listen to that
Dude,
audio clip for multiple days because I found two times where he said it.
There will be a time where we start recording more sessions.
I'm sick
I hope
and
we never reach
fucking
it.
tired of creators claiming to be big supporters of LGBT people, but taking every measure possible to minimize their presence in their works to avoid potentially pissing off.
Why the fuck is he
Tories.
here?
If this show was as supportive.
Okay, I just want to make this. I'm gonna make this clear. Before LGBT was accepted, if you had a show, because they're not accepted, you can get that show taken off, right?
Wait,
so
why,
what would you rather have?
Why was Ratsec on the fucking screen?
I have no idea. What would you rather have? No LGBT representation? Or a little bit of LGBT representation? That will soon build up to be a lot. This was made 6 years ago. So I can't use the knowledge that I know now, because that's an unfair argument. But this would be the same argument I would still use. This is only because this is the experience I had as a Black person looking for Black representation within the media. Like sometimes Black characters have to be hidden in plain sight. So then we can actually make Black characters. Like we can have real Black characters. So I understand how hard it feels. Just like, man, figuring out that guy was a nigga midway through, or thinking that dude was a nigga the whole time, not to get it confirmed, really makes me upset. But that's something you got to deal with. That's actually something you got to deal with. It's a snowball effect. I feel like, Crown, did you deal with the two when you first? Well, you being a Mexican American, do you deal with the two? Finding Mexican representation that's not an anthropomorphic animal. It had to be an actual character.
Dog,
that shit was hard, right?
I was like, that shit's still not even good to this day. Like, unless I'm looking for strong Latina woman or man living in America, it's like, damn, bro, like that's the same story plot we've gotten for the last 17 years. Yeah,
it's fucking hard. That is shit you just gotta deal with, nigga. If you want society to progress, it always gotta take small steps.
Supportive as it claims to be, they'd have gone all in and opened in episode 1 with them as adults and already married. Worse than that, the entire show's approach to romance is born purely out of obligation.
Taking the piss.
Because The Last Airbender had romance, and so we have to have it here as well. So many characters have so little chemistry that fucking fan art, can capture more emotion and chemistry in a single wordless frame than the writers can manage in 4 years. Supposedly all of this is built on in the Turf Wars comic. I wouldn't know because I can't honestly think of a good reason of why I would pay to experience more Legend of Korra content.
Okay, that's
I
your
already had to
opinion.
rewatch the series in its entirety for this video, and that was torturous enough. I certainly don't want to experience it in comic book form, and I certainly don't want to experience that on the off chance that this one tertiary element of the story might be done better. Keyword being might. The fact of the matter is that the romance was the worst element of even The Last Airbender, and the writers had the common sense to keep it to a minimal presence in the series. There was
the
one
worst?
episode, and then brief moments in a few others before closing with the shot that everyone wanted to see by the end. The best written relationship was between Sokka and Suki, and you barely saw a whole lot of content for it. This is because their relationship after the Serpent's Pass was mostly contained to occasional couple banter, because banter is where Sokka is the strongest. Korra makes the big mistake of not only having love triangles, but also pretending that those triangles are just as engaging as the main story, rather than being a fun little side story. And that inflation of a side story's prominence makes its bigger
I mean, the relationship triangles was integral to the story because it influenced how the characters think and what their actions are going to be. So, it's whatever though.
Glaring. The Last Airbender would have only suffered if half of every season was devoted to building on the romance, and if Sokka was roped into an unhealthy submissive relationship with Yue. Seriously, what the hell, writers? That was all kinds of fucked up.
I disagree. I just want to be bowling.
I disagree. We love Bullet.
Now I thought about it, and I think people won't cancel me for saying that person entity just because they heard how confused I was. Yep, I believe in human society.
That the majority of Korra's fan base is extremely critical of,
yeah,
which is to be expected. Most fan bases are generally uncritical of material.
You think believe in human society? Worst mistake you could ever make. Me personally, I would never make that fucking mistake. I don't believe it.
Hey, we're still uploading this shit
If
anyways.
said material remains consistent
get
with
the
itself,
point.
it's only when you place a good story and a terrible story right next to each other that they start to realize the difference. So long as the material isn't constantly shifting between two different versions of itself, most casual viewers will just accept that everything was intentional and not bother expending the energy to really analyze and digest what they've actually seen. The season opens with the chieftain of the Northern Water Tribe offering to teach Korra about the spirits, remarking on the fact that she's been sheltered from the Avatar journey throughout her entire life. From there, Unalaq starts talking about the unification of the Water Tribes, and a civil war breaks out between the North and the South, and Korra learns that her father was banished from the North for burning down a spirit forest and angering the spirits. Korra tries desperately to remain neutral until her father is imprisoned for inciting rebellion, and she learns that Unalaq plotted all of this, including her father being banished years ago, and the spiritual unrest going on in the Water Tribes was his fault the entire time. Korra ceases to be neutral and retreats to Republic City to find help, which connects to multiple different storylines. After the new president of Republic City refuses to send the United Forces, Asami agrees to sell weapons and mecha tanks to the south to save her company. But she's sabotaged by Varric, who wants to push Future Industries into a position to have to sell to him because he wants their assets to profit off the Civil War. Varric also starts pushing propaganda films to push Republic City into supporting open war starring Bolin and inciting terror attacks on Republic City to blame the North. Holy shit! Civil war that builds on material introduced in The Last Airbender, war propaganda, and a war profiteer all connected with each other, and we're only halfway through the season by this point. The amount of detail and complicated storytelling on display is amazing, and it's the first time that the show really grabs you by the nuts and never lets go, as even minor fights between main characters start carrying a lot of tension because you've seen what kind of domino effect it can have on the rest of the story. You even get old school plot divergences with Tenzin going on vacation with his family, who are still the best characters in the show. This is the kind of writing that the entire
shouldn't this be in the positive?
I remember him referencing
series needed
remember
so
her
much
referencing the lemur episode as bad, unless I'm remembering wrong. So I'm confused why they're
I need
bringing
to
it up
open this
now.
fucking door. This cat has been annoying as fuck. I'm playing it though.
A densely packed and interconnected
As I
story
go,
that
as I
takes
walk
full
off,
advantage of the fact that the series is running on a continuous narrative and can keep throwing curveballs at you with new developments and playing off material we established a few episodes ago to guide said curveballs right into your groin. Well, that all sounds great, you might be saying. So what's the problem? Well, we still have another half of the season to go, that's what. After departing to seek help from the Fire Lord, Korra is ambushed by a dark spirit and washes up on the shores of the Fire Sages. Where
You won't believe this,
the
but my
real
life
reason the dark spirits are running rampant and Unalaq is hungry for power, and the origin of the Avatar. The Avatar is the result of a light spirit permanently fusing with a human in a constant state of reincarnation to endlessly do battle with a dark spirit who wants to burn all mortal life in the world every 10,000 years. And Unalaq wants to release the dark spirit,
it's
and
only
everything
10,000
he's been
years
doing
because
has just been
Korra
a means
released
to an
it
end.
after
Because
10,000
what
years
this
of him
story
being
about the chaotic interplay
sealed.
between the four elements built off Eastern mythology needed was God and Satan. Objectively good and evil, light versus dark proselytizing. That's the kind of nuanced attitude we need in this show. Anyway, as tension
Chaos and stagnation.
Wait, no, guys. Is that motherfucker ragging on the fact that there need to be balance? Yeah, nigga, fuck nuance.
Plus, it wasn't just like pure evil versus pure good. It was quote unquote evil and chaos, and then like serenity and good. Like there was a yin to yang, you know. Which, by the way, we've seen also in Avatar with the koi fish. There was the sun and in the moon spirit, who just live in a pond and apparently in the South Pole for some reason, but they're spirits. Like,
see, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that this motherfucker is complaining about that.
Is that motherfucker in she pronouns or male pronouns?
That motherfucker is spelled M-O. Oh, well, do I start with that or do I start with motherfucker? M-O-T-H-E-R-F-U-C-K-A. That motherfucker, gender neutral. That's why the A's there. For well, what's the A in LGB?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Asexual. Yeah,
give me
they're
a
for
second.
asexual.
Pause it. Give me a second.